Actually, hold on one second. Sorry.
We're live now.
We are.
What's
Live.
Welcome, everyone, to Premium Takes. We are your hosts. I am Adam. That's Mac, the Giant fan, and Zion Zenith. How are you guys doing today?
Doing just delightful, sir. Watching some NCAA basketball. You know,
Well,
let's go.
Good that you're watching NCAA because that will be our first topic of the day, fellas.
Let's
You
get
see
it.
it scrolling across. You see it scrolling across the bottom there. It says, our bracket got busted, the tournament update, and Coach K. So, how about you lead us off, Mac, with the update with the bracket and the NCAA?
Well, yeah, it's like he just like the banner says across the bottom. Our bracket has been officially busted as we took Gonzaga Bulldogs to win the whole thing, and they have been eliminated. They got eliminated in round 2, as a matter of fact. They didn't even make it to they got eliminated in the Sweet 16. Excuse me. So they didn't even make it to the Final Four. We still got 2 Final Four teams alive. However, they do play each other next Saturday night. The Villanova Wildcats and the Kansas Jayhawks. Villanova representing that South region. Kansas Jayhawks representing that Midwest region. We did nail that here on the Premium Take Show at the very least. And and so we got something right, a little something right. And right now, it's just been an exciting tournament still all the way. I mean, St. Peter's, unfortunately, right now, it's looking pretty bad for them in the first half against Carolina, down by 20. But at the same time, it's still been an exciting tournament watching them. The Cinderella story they've been. A 15 seed getting to the Elite 8 is unheard of. It's uncharted territories. It's never been done before. So St. Peter's giving hope to all the little guys all around every year in the tournament. Nobody's going to come in here thinking they don't have a chance because they watched what this St. Peter's team did this year. And the game's still technically not over, but find it far-fetched that a team like St. Peter's is going to be able to come back from a lead like this, even with the whole entire second half remaining to play. But big up to St. Peter's, man, the run they've had, man. And so like I said, it's been a great tournament. Right now, we officially already in the Final Four. We got Duke representing the West region, Villanova representing the South, Kansas representing the Midwest, and the winner of this game between North Carolina and St. Peter's will be representing the East. So let you guys hear what you guys got to say, man.
Well, I mean, Zion, I'll let you go first. Since
I haven't really been following the NCAA tournament. I've been watching from here and there, but to be honest with you guys, I haven't been even following. So I think that I liked it because there's a lot of teams that people didn't even expect to be there. That's there. So that's fun to be watching. It's always the same things, the same teams, it seems like every year. And this team, like Max said earlier, we had a lot of upsets. And you usually don't get that much upsets as we had. So my knowledge on the NCAA tournament hasn't been the greatest, but yes, I've been tuning in when I can, and it's been a really good March. And I'll let Adam continue.
So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have the man himself, the Hub, coming in here. He's going to join us for a little bit. He can join us on our NCAA talk real quick, and then we'll jump into some NFL. Hub, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us on Premium Takes.
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Mac in here, Zion. How y'all doing, man?
Good.
NCAA talk. I don't really watch that much college football. Basketball. I told myself and my friends, because we're Knicks fans, we got to watch this year because I know there's a guy in Jaden Ivey out of Purdue that's probably going to end up being a New York Knick. And I was like, I want to get my look at him, but I just have not had the time. And then, of course, following on Twitter, the Peacocks, that school from NJ, they've been doing well. They upset a couple of teams, but I think they got knocked out like today, right?
Well,
they're about to be knocked out.
They're losing badly right now to North Carolina, yeah.
Well,
I mean, so what is it going to be? A Carolina final then, right? Because UNC is the one that made it to the finals? Or is it Duke?
Well, this is still to go to the Final Four. Duke's already in the Final Four now. Mm-hmm. And this if North Carolina wins this game, which looks like they're going to win, they will be playing Duke next Saturday night, which will be one last matchup for Coach K against North Carolina, man. One of the biggest rivalries in college basketball history. So that'll still be pretty fun to watch next Saturday.
I'm sorry to
Okay,
interrupt real
so yeah,
fast,
good to
guys,
know.
but Mac, if not Mac, Adam, if you don't mind, can you make me a mod again? For some reason, I'm not. So they can click on Mac's channel, Hub's channel, and then you can find me at Zion Zenith. And please continue, guys.
Okay. Well, so I'm just gonna give you my take. Listen, I like what's going on. I think it's gonna be fun to watch NCAA, UNC go again with Duke. That's the biggest rivalry I know in basketball in my lifetime. So, if that's the case, I hope Coach K wins it all, because it would be a great way to send him off, send him packing the right way with not only a trophy, but who gets to go off in the sunset. Not many guys get to do that, and his longevity has been well documented. So I respect him. I respect the North Carolina, and it's going to be a fun Final Four next week.
Well, I was gonna say I can't. I mean, I respect the greatness of Coach K, and I would love to see him go off into the sunset just because of what he's meant to the sport. However, I do have a dog in the race still. I'm a big Villanova Wildcats fan, and they still got a shot. They are also in the Final Four and have with a chance to meet up against Duke, as a matter of fact, in the championship game. And that, for me as a fan, that would be pretty awesome to see Coach K and the Duke Blue Devils taking on the Villanova Wildcats. Me being a big Villanova fan that I am, of course I'm going to have to root for Villanova, but I do respect the greatness of Coach K, man, and the fact that this is his last year coaching and in his ride, like you said. I mean, as far as just making the Final Four, I mean, Duke's had a pretty up and down season this year, man, and the fact that he still got this team motivated at this point in the season to make this run into the Final Four is pretty awesome, man. Coach K has meant so much to the game of basketball, college basketball. Literally one of the greatest coaches ever, period, across in sports, period. Not even just college basketball. I mean, he's broken so many records, win records. I mean, like I just said, I was talking to Adam backstage about he's now officially passed John Wooden for most Final Four appearances as a head coach. I mean, you can go on and on with the accolades of Coach K. Also, what he's done with the U.S. national teams, a couple of the dream teams and things that he's coached, man. Coach K is an absolute legend in this sport, man. Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. He's a true GOAT, man. I no matter what, like I said, I've never been a big Duke fan, but I respect greatness and I respect everything that Coach K has meant to the game of basketball.
Hey, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's also the most winningest coach in history, right? In all sports.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but
he's up there.
Got to
sure.
be up there. He's got to be up there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, people, this has been great talk. We'll get back into some NCAA, but our guest here, he does a lot of football. So we'll get into our second topic of the show, NFL free agency madness. What moves do we like? What moves do we not like? And what we think it may impact on the draft. Hub, you are our guest, so we will give you the floor.
Absolutely.
So the first thing that comes to mind, especially towards the last part of the question, with impacting the draft, I guess it would have to be the quarterback moves. There was a lot of them this offseason. There was a lot of moves in general. I'm sure you guys have said it before as well. I feel like we've all probably beaten it to death. It was probably like the craziest offseason in a while, if not like ever. But impacting the draft, it's got to be the quarterback moves, man, because Seattle is now sitting at 9 where Denver used to be. Atlanta is sitting at 8, and they got rid of Matt Ryan. The Browns, they gave their pick away to the Texans, right? So the Texans have 2 picks in the first round now, or in the top 10, I should say. Is it top 10? No, the Browns are top 10, top 15.
Yeah, top 15.
Yeah.
Top 15, right? Yeah, but it's like the quarterback moves come to mind. I'll be honest with you, even though I brought that up, I think Seattle's probably going to wait until next year. I could be wrong about that, or maybe they're the ones who get Baker Mayfield. And I kind of feel sorry for Baker right now, man. That man has no suitors. Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants Baker.
Not a single team wants to take this guy on. And I'm like, he's mediocre, but he's not as bad as everybody makes him seem. Like, he was injured last year.
I mean, he can't be worse than Mitchell Trubisky.
Exactly. I'm like, he can't be.
Actually, Mitchell Trubisky has a better overall than him, and is actually better than him.
You're talking about like, what do you mean by overall, bro?
Like, when I mean overall, like Baker Mayfield, like obviously, I think like I agree with you guys. Baker Mayfield is the better quarterback, and I'd rather have Baker Mayfield on my roster. But Baker Mayfield is 30-29, With
Oh,
Mitchell
well, we're
is 30
talking
or
about
22.
wins. Let's
Yeah,
just
that's
keep
just
that out the
wins.
way.
If I can throw this
Fair
Baker
enough.
Mayfield,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
if I can throw this Baker Mayfield, my narrative, but I think honestly, I think he hurt himself with the initial talk about Deshaun Watson being traded to Cleveland, and Baker made that statement about his feelings being hurt, and I think nobody just wants this little. I think the problem is he made himself look kind of soft. You know what I mean? Like, bro, toughen up. This is a business. I mean, if they have a chance to bring in a better quarterback, I mean, he has to, I think, can look in the mirror and admit to himself that Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than him. The Cleveland Browns had an opportunity to bring him in, upgrade the position. You just got to move on, man. They're gonna and take it like a man. But you come out making statements about your feelings being hurt. Nobody wants to hear about you with your 6-figure bank account feelings being hurt, bro. Like nobody wants to hear that.
I just don't want to see him on any more progressive commercials.
Just focus on your game, get better, sharpen up his tools, man. I think because he's not. Let's face it. I'm gonna keep it real. It's been lesser quarterbacks than Baker Mayfield already signed and moving on to other teams. So the lack of interest in Baker Mayfield is intriguing to me. I'm not a big fan of his, but at the same time, I do know he's better than the fact that the Carolina Panthers are willing to just go to bat with Sam Darnold instead of trying to bring Baker Mayfield in. I mean, that's come on. Let's face it.
Because I think I let
Something more to it that we don't all know about.
I'll let her finish his point, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, and you have all these quarterbacks getting signed to all these teams, and then you have Baker Mayfield just sitting there. I don't know if it's his attitude. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to let her finish his point.
Oh, no, I was like, you guys brought up great points. And with the Baker Mayfield thing, I'm like, every quarterback that moved around, I'm going to be honest, there's only two of them that are better than him. It's Russell and it's Deshaun. Matt Ryan and his prime obviously is better than him, but I don't know what Matt Ryan's gonna look like this year. If he looks like anything he did last year and the year before, then he's better than Baker. But we all know the cliff in football for quarterbacks, it's unpredictable. So it could come this year or it could not come this year. We'll see what happens. But like, yeah, he should definitely be an option for Seattle. I thought that for sure he would have ended up being on the Falcons after Ryan got traded, but then they got Marcus Mariota, and I still think he should be an option there because, like we all said, I think he's better than Mariota. I'm trying to think of teams, and it's like even if there's a team that wants to wait until next year's draft to possibly get a quarterback, I would still shoot a shot at Baker because why not? It's gonna be really weird because he is, I'd say, a top 16 quarterback in the league, and he's probably not going to have a starting job if it continues like this, which is just crazy.
I was going to say that same thing Miz said. Nobody wants to pay us $18 million. That's really probably the main issue, is he's guaranteed $18 million from his rookie deal. So if you have limited cap funds and you want to bring him in and you don't have the room, well then he's shit out of luck. For me, I don't know where he's going to go. If I were him, I'd just take my $18 million and just sit there, collect my money. And then, next year is a new year. That next year you'll probably have your pick of the litter at that point. If Mitchell Trubisky can get $14 million for throwing 8 passes in Buffalo, I'm sure if he sat down and threw a couple passes for Deshaun Watson when there's a blowout game, I'm sure he'll get some money next year as well.
I think he'd probably sit out rather than play behind Deshaun, bro. Or not. I should rephrase that. Not play behind Deshaun, but play for the Browns because that's what it really is.
I can't imagine he would suit up in the Browns.
To exactly Hub's point, I was watching The Herd, and Colin's all like, Baker Mayfield is not a backup quarterback. With his energy, he's a starter, or don't at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, with his, like Cam Newton, like Colin was mentioning Cam Newton. Like, Cam Newton's not a backup quarterback. Baker Mayfield's not a backup quarterback. So exactly Hub's point, I don't see him playing as a backup to Deshaun Watson.
But another thing with Baker I could go with also is maybe it's just because maybe GMs around the league are figuring like, what do you really have to do for this guy for him to get you over the hump as well? I mean, Cleveland put a damn good football team around Baker Mayfield, and yet it still hasn't seemed to fully work.
The thing is I agree with you. Cleveland did put a good roster around him, right? But like, let's not overhype the Cleveland Browns roster. Like, their wide receiving core had names on it, but did those names perform? Not really. Now, I will say, I'm completely on the train of, like, Baker is the reason Odell looked bad in Cleveland, but that's just one receiver, right? Like, Jarvis is still there. And then, honestly, behind them, who you had? You had Downville's Peoples-Jones. They had a good tight end. I think they had Austin Hooper, right? So he should have been able to do something there. And then you look at the defense, and I'm trying to think to myself, I'm like, maybe that secondary isn't as good as it should have been. as well when you start really thinking about the names on that roster.
That is true because the defense
Didn't they
wasn't
bring in Greedy
really.
Williams?
But at that, like they had
Bro,
names, but was
they
the
have like 3 or
defense
4 first round picks there. What
living
has
up
it
to the
resulted
hype?
in?
Absolutely, that's a good point.
I'm just saying, like,
What has
I
that
don't know.
secondary resulted
that's-
in as a pass defense?
It
gonna say
really hasn't
nothing.
resulted in much. I mean, I
Is
haven't
it nothing?
Exactly, and they've put like at least three first round picks into that secondary. You had Denzel Ward, you had Greedy Williams. There's probably somebody else, a safety or another
I didn't
cornerback.
know where Greedy
They had
Well,
Williams
more
was.
than
they
enough
had
resources.
That guy
Delpit,
even
but Delpit missed his rookie season, didn't he? Wasn't he on
Yeah.
Cleveland? Yeah, he missed his rookie season. He got injured in training camp.
They had a lot of high picks there, but I don't think the guys actually
Like
developed.
Logan said, 3 first
So
round
it's like
picks.
they had names, and at the end of the day, it was one of the better rosters in the NFL. But it's not to the hype that people are saying, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think Baker Mayfield deserves another chance over some of these other guys, especially these guys who've been backup sitting for a year. You know, this guy was injured last. I'm not trying to make excuse for the guy, but he was injured last year, so that does something to you when you have when your shoulder.
I agree with you. Like to the earlier point, I think he's a mediocre quarterback. I don't know if he can get you over the hump. Probably not. But like
Right.
what you saw last year is not representative of him because he was injured.
Right. So I mean,
Solid
maybe we
point.
give the guy some time to heal up, and look. I mean, nobody wants Jimmy Garoppolo. He has a shoulder injury right now too. So
Joel
I mean,
wants
you're
him.
telling me this guy can't get a job? He led the rookies. Didn't he break the rookie record in touchdowns or something like that? I mean, are we just going to throw that away? I mean, listen, I don't really like Baker Mayfield. His attitude is really what's probably getting him in the doghouse. You know, thinking that you're better than everybody else when you're really not. But hey, I think he's better than Marcus Mariota. I mean, Marcus
Yeah, I
Mariota, what
agree.
has he done?
I think he's better than Mariota. I think he's better than Trubisky. Like I said, he's definitely better than
He's better than
people
Drew Lock.
Than Drew
He's
Lock.
better than whoever they got right now in I think he's better than Davis Mills, but I respect the Texans.
yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do respect the Texans' decision to stick with Davis Mills because I'm like, if he showed you that in his first year, yeah, give him another chance. You're probably gonna draft somebody next year anyway, but like stay with Davis. I could respect that decision.
Well,
Yeah, go
Davis
fast,
Mills,
go
people
fast,
know.
fella. Go
Davis
fast,
Mills,
fast.
pretty good quarterback from Stanford. He was a 5-star recruit. He came in, he blew out his knee at Stanford. So David Shaw says that he's the truth. So he got in the 3rd round because of his medicals. And you know, I saw that guy highlight. I scouted him last year. I thought he would be a good quarterback. I didn't think he would be, you know, a starter, but it just goes to show you can find diamonds anywhere.
Yo, and real fast, guys. Miz, so we actually stopped the call-ins. We're just bringing on special guests. But you know, if everybody agrees, maybe later on in the show, I'll shoot you the link on Twitter, and then you can come make a statement real fast, Miz. But we actually stopped the call-ins. But we will shoot you the link a little bit later in the show if you're down.
Cool. But like Baker's not the only quarterback that's moved. The entire AFC seems like it's shifted. In my lifetime, this has been the most power I've ever seen the AFC have. And, you know, growing up when I started watching football, the NFC was the most dominant conference in the NFL. Now the AFC's got teams everywhere.
I mean, the
4 in the
NFC
AFC West.
I'd say
Two,
the NFC
two
up
maybe
until
3 in the AFC
2018,
East.
bro.
Sorry.
I was just like, I'd say the NFC up until 2018 was the more powerful conference. It's not that long ago.
It is
Right. It's not. You're absolutely right. But you think about it. Look at the Denver, Las Vegas, LA, and Kansas City. That's play. That could be that those teams could all be in the playoffs next year. Just that.
He said
division.
shit on
So-
Baker.
Not to mention, you know, the AFC East, you got at least 2 teams, 3 competing now with Miami. I don't know how good Tua is, so I don't know how good they'll be. I think that team's going to be fun to watch, but fall very short. And then, you know, you have the AFC South, who's got 2 teams with Matt Ryan moving. I mean, come on. They were 1 team away. I mean, their window may be over. I don't know how you guys feel about Matt Ryan going to Indianapolis. Any thoughts on that?
I think they still
He's
need some more
washed.
receiver
Matt Ryan
help.
had the
They need
who's
some more
who
receiver help for
receivers.
him.
Yo, Matt Ryan
They
had
need
the
some-
who's who of receivers his whole career, and what has he accomplished? Absolutely nothing.
Man, he won
So
an
you can
MVP
miss
and he got
that.
to a Super Bowl, brother. What do you
Can I
mean?
blame him for that Super Bowl, though? Can I blame him for
You
that?
can
Kyle
miss that,
Shanahan
Matt
can turn
Ryan.
around and run the football.
He's a good stats
he won.
quarterback. I'll give him that. But when it comes to actual games that are actually important games, I mean, like where was him when we made the playoffs in 2012? Where was that? Where was that number 1 offense? They scored 2 points.
They
Come
ran
on,
into
Matt
that
Ryan.
buzzsaw called the New
Listen.
York Giants, man.
Exactly.
Come on, Matt Ryan.
You can't be mad at that. Our defense played outstanding. 2 4th and 1
Come on,
stops.
Matty.
I mean, come on.
What
Come
does
on.
this guy need? This guy had rosters upon rosters upon rosters. And okay, if you had to talk about the defense, I understand. Maybe he didn't have the best defense, but even those times in Atlanta in the mid 2000s where he had legit defensive guys on
I'm
the
gonna tell
field,
you
but
something
no,
Matt Ryan never had
what did Matt Ryan do?
in Atlanta. He never really, truly had a consistent, strong running game.
Yep.
Devontae
It was
Freeman
always
was one of the,
relying. It was
Devontae
always
Freeman was
relying a
one of
bit.
the
I
top
mean,
paying backs at the
he
time.
had a couple of good years.
He's not Jonathan
He had a
Taylor.
couple of good
He
years.
wasn't Jonathan Taylor, but you gotta admit, Devontae Freeman was running it in Atlanta for a couple of years.
Yeah, so was I
Cole.
for a couple of years with the Giants. That doesn't mean that we're good. It just means they had a solid running back. I mean, Jamal Anderson,
but But goes to show you if obviously I can't mention the Ravens because they had a stud defense. But if Eli Manning can obviously we had a good defense too. So that never mind. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna say if other teams can win the Super Bowl with the kind of offenses that we had, it's like Matt Ryan has no excuse. Washed.
well, we'll find out.
That's just my point.
This
That's my
year.
point. I'm sorry.
That is a harsh critique of Matt Ryan, sir. I'm sorry.
Listen, you are just besmirching Matty Ice. Come on this
That's
show.
why his
Bring
name
it
is
to-
Matty Ice because he chokes.
Oh, well, you mean he freezes under big pressure? Is that
I
what
was
you're
about to
trying to
say,
go
I
with?
think you should say he's cold, bro. He's cold.
He's cool, yeah. Like one of
I know he's not
my
cold.
good long time friends is an Atlanta fan, so I've been talking to him I knew him for the past 10 years, and just he always roasts Matt Ryan, and we always roast Matt Ryan together. And okay, he's in the middle tier of quarterbacks. Obviously, there's a lot of quarterbacks that's worse. I'd rather have Matt Ryan than Daniel Jones. Go right ahead and roast me. But at the end of the day, like he's still not a great quarterback.
Well,
It's
this
on
ties
numbers
us
with him.
into the last division in football, which is the AFC North, which brings us right back to the Browns, what we were speaking about. Because I don't feel the Browns are going to make the playoffs, especially with these stacked teams in the AFC. Not to mention the couple of teams in that division that are still pretty good, the Bengals, Pittsburgh, and the Ravens. So it's going to be fun, man. I don't know what Deshaun Watson's going to do. I don't even think they're the best team in that division. Hell, they're not even the best team in the conference. So
I mean, let's face it. With the 17 playoff format, there could literally be 3 teams right out the AFC West. 3 of those 4 teams could make the playoffs.
I think all 4 can make it.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
at
I was
all.
gonna say, there's a possibility that it could be even all 4.
I mean, have we ever seen that before? I don't think we've ever seen
That's
that.
No,
never.
that's never
happened.
No.
Well, then, I mean, just like the Bucks winning the Super Bowl in their own stadium, I thought would never happen. I'm going to go out on a limb,
The Rams
which isn't
winning
a
the
very
Super Bowl in
big
their own
one.
stadium,
Then
too.
the Rams go right along.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The Rams. So we got it back to back. Sorry about that, fellas. And then I'm going to say that 4 teams from the AFC West are going.
Can you imagine if the trend continues and Kyler Murray wins one in Arizona this year? That would be hilarious.
I think it's going to end though. I think that's where I think it is going to end this year.
I have a question. Why is the Super Bowl always in Arizona? Like they always get it.
That's a great question.
Well,
Money.
they want to. It's like they schedule Super Bowls years in advance, obviously, and they don't want to take that risk of putting it in certain like cold weather cities. And you saw the
Them in
one year was in
Miami, though,
MetLife,
Mac.
but
So
I
is
mean
them in Miami.
Miami, New
The
Orleans.
thing is, though, Mac, the 1 year in MetLife was actually really good weather.
It was really good weather.
It was really good. They were expecting it to be like rainy and windy, and it was not windy. It was not rainy. It wasn't even that cold, actually.
If I'm
The
not
thing is,
mistaken, it might have been a snowstorm like the next day, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So but the general idea that the NFL that I disagree with, which is the reason they hold it in more southern places, is because of the weather. They want to avoid the coldness. They want to avoid any potential snowstorms or like hail or whatever. I disagree with that because I'm like, I would love to see a Super Bowl in the elements. I'd love to see a team battle it out in the
Like a
national elements.
Blizzard
Like
Bowl.
I think-
if we
Well,
can
that's what
see
they
it
did
in
in
the
the
conference
first- in the first
championships,
Super
why
Bowl.
can't we see it in the Super Bowl? If we
I
can
think
see
the
it in
problem with
conference
that is
championships?
the Super Bowl. They put so much into the Super Bowl as far as a whole extravaganza. You know what I mean?
The party, yeah.
People
whole event.
people pay so much money for those tickets. They don't want to be sitting out in the snowstorm. You know what I mean?
It's not just-
And
it's
then
not just
Now
one
here's the
kept
thing.
and
That
not
I
even
can
just that.
understand.
And not
They
just
do
that,
it dope.
also you set up the big, amazing halftime shows and these big, all this stuff, everything going on. I think they just really want to make sure everything is perfect, man. And the best
I was
way
gonna
to-
say the halftime show, bro. That's definitely the biggest point you can bring up. Because trust, diehard fans will sit through a snowstorm to watch the Super Bowl. I would say, but the halftime show, that's a great point. And I guess maybe they just can't figure out a way to have like the Super Bowl town. The town that they set up for the Super Bowl, like I guess, be good. around it or
Why
whatever.
wouldn't they have it in Green Bay, Titletown, Lombardi, Lambeau Field? Lombardi
Exactly.
Trophy.
It's
That
never
coach.
going to
That's
happen.
just nostalgia for me.
Yeah, when
I
was
would
that
just do it
like
once.
besides the
That's never going
originals?
to happen,
Like,
though.
not the originals. They had it once. I thought they had like two early back. They only had one back in the day.
Who?
What?
No,
In
the
Green Bay, I don't know.
at Lambeau.
There's
No,
never
they
been a
didn't
Super
have.
Bowl on Lambeau Field.
No, they didn't have it any time. It went to Pasadena and other places because of the extravaganza factor. Like you said, they want to bring.
I
They
still
also
think
do it.
that I think that the NFL should build a nice stadium in Hawaii, and the Super Bowl is hosted in Hawaii every single year.
That
Remember
would
when
be
they
an
used to do
even
the Pro
better
Bowl?
idea.
Remember when they used to do the Pro Bowl there? I think they should
Oh,
do
Yeah,
that again.
so
that
do
was my
I.
first.
Yeah.
That was my first like because I grew up in Hawaii and we didn't have an NFL team. So like when they go to the Pro Bowl and like seeing Eli Manning and seeing Jared Allen and all those studs, like that was Hawaii's people like time to actually go to a live NFL game, even though it was just scrimmage and they never really blitzed this. And now it damn looks like flag football the way they're running out there. But like that was just and that was a good for the players. It's like you work hard all year and you get to enjoy at Ko'olino Resort. You take your family, you enjoy on the beach, and then you got the game on Sunday. It was like a gift to them at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? I bet you there'll be a Super Bowl in Wembley Stadium in England before there's one in Lambeau Field, which would be sad because they want to expand the
That would be
game out.
so stupid. Oh
I'm
man,
just saying,
that'd be
think about it. Neutral site, Wembley Stadium. I'm sure they wouldn't want to. They wouldn't pass up on the opportunity.
That's awesome. I wasn't laughing at you, Hubert, just the way you said it. He's like, that's so stupid.
bro. Because it's
That's
like you do an international one before you go to Green Bay. Like,
Right?
come on.
I'm just saying what I think will happen. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'd rather have a snow Super Bowl where the guy is bringing out the snowblower every break in the every TV break to make sure you can see the lines.
Right.
That would be awesome. Awesome. The snow being thrown up in the air when the team wins. I mean, who cares about the halftime show? Give me a whole spectacle. The NFL talks about the history of the game, right? Well, this would be the biggest. Roger Goodell, I know you're not listening to because we only got like 4 people in here, but listen to me, okay? Do a Super Bowl in Green Bay. I'm telling you, it will sell. It will sell the nostalgia, the history. Everything will go well. And in Green Bay, we'll finally get some valuable visitors to their city.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the problem. Green Bay is not a big enough market to host Super Bowl in, bro. That's just never. It's never gonna happen because of that for Green Bay. Honestly, it's just not a big enough market to host
Damn
Super
it,
Bowl,
Mac.
and it's just the truth. I mean, the NFL is
That
never
is
gonna
true.
be on board with that. And then you put that aside with the fact that the weather is gonna be absolutely unpredictable in February in Green Bay. It's just the NFL
Oh,
would
please.
never. They would never.
Exactly what
The
Max said,
Indianapolis
Adam.
Colts
It's
won in
the
a
experience,
rainstorm.
right? It's like let's go to Los Angeles, and you have all these Los Angeles vendors and all the crowds and Los Angeles parties, and it's a whole week. Let's go to New York. Let's go to New Orleans. New Orleans, a party city, a party town. You know what I'm saying? Let's go
Well,
to.
they go to Indianapolis.
Well,
they go to
Indianapolis
Minnesota.
is just like in a
Because
form
they
of-
have dome stadiums.
They have
That's
dome
why.
stadiums,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Okay,
No, I know
and I
that.
was
But I'm
about to
just
say,
saying, like,
going back real quick, going back to that point of playing in the elements, I feel like that's gonna die out soon because eventually I feel like all like northern teams are gonna have dome stadiums, which is like it's cool, but man, you're really
Separate
taking
now.
away, I think, what is a big part of the game, being able to adapt to weather and how like the running game, for example, we all know running game and defense has become the most important thing in a snowy game or a rainy game. So it's like you just completely take that away from it.
yeah, I like teams that I mean the Giants do something odd, right? They're always on the warm side of the field. Usually you put the visiting team on the sunny side of the field, but because Wellington Mara got a cold on the shady side, the Giants are always on the warm side of the field. So, you do these competitive. Look at the Cowboys. Sometimes when it's hot, they make you wear your home jerseys because of darker color fabric, making you sweat a little bit more. So imagine that, a team that's from, let's say, Miami or something like that, going to the Super Bowl in Lambeau Field, freezing their gonads off because they don't even know it's like 23 below zero. They've never felt weather like this. It would change the whole game. It'd be fun.
Well,
It'd be really
and
fun.
that's a good point. Do you think that's why they keep it in regular climate, kind of in either a dome stadium, a climate fair kind of zone?
It's all about the experience, man. They want to make the experience pleasurable for the audience, man.
fans.
Like you can't expect people like At Super Bowl stadiums, the tickets that you would pay a couple $100 for in the regular season are thousands of dollars. I mean, so the
Cheapest, dude,
prices, everything elevates, man.
the nosebleeds this year was 3,200.
So
You're
yeah,
telling me
people,
you don't think they could sell out Lambeau Field if the Super Bowl's there? Give me a break.
They could, but it's
That's-
just like the condemnities, like the week leading up to the Super Bowl. There's so much more things to do in Miami. There's so much things to do. Like if you sell the audience, like you're gonna spend $5,000 on this ticket package to fly to Miami and have the whole week in Miami and experience it, or to fly to Wisconsin and be devastated by snow. It's the audience, you know.
you got to also
No,
remember,
I get
Super
it.
Bowl is not a game that the hardcore fans necessarily are able to attend. You know what I mean? That's more of
That's
that.
true.
A lot more casual fans attend Super Bowl because just people would just go because they can afford the tickets and show up and can say, I went to the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? And it's going to be a lot harder to sell to the casual fan that go take a trip to Green Bay, Wisconsin in February and go sit in Lambeau Field and freeze your ass off for 4 quarters. It's just going to be hard to sell that to people.
But I mean, that's part of
Now, we're
Green
not
Bay's.
dissing anybody from Wisconsin. Obviously, there's a lot of amazing things to do with Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear. Continue, Adam.
Well, that's my point about Green Bay. That's their whole mantra, right? Is no one can beat them in Lambeau in that cold weather. For me, I agree with Hub, man. I want to see some elements. We saw a rain Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. Didn't affect him one bit. It was a rainstorm in that game. I mean, Rex Grossman was the quarterback in that game for Chicago, so it doesn't really say much. But my point is, let's see something. We see the classic game. We all sit there and watch NFL films and look at the snow and the breath coming out on the field, and we're like, oh man, that's so cool. We remember the Tom Brady Tuck Rule game. That thing was a blizzard happening. It was awesome. It added to the mystique of that game.
I
Or the
don't want anybody to
championship with
misconstrue.
Green Bay and the Giants in 06.
I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. I would love to see that. I would be on board with that. I just realistically just don't see it ever happening.
No, I agree with you guys.
And
I'm
I'm
just-
absolutely with Mac too. It's like, yeah, I would love to see an element game, but for the financial side of the NFL, I don't think it's reasonable.
Yeah, well, I'm just bringing it up as devil's advocate just to get the the
Absolutely.
conversation going. But
Absolutely.
we'll keep going. Well, let's shift to the draft a little bit and see with these quarterback moves. Does anyone think that there will be a trade out, especially for our Giants, in the top 10 for any of these quarterbacks? The floor is yours.
All
I could see
depends
us
who
trading.
goes
Go
first.
right ahead, Hub.
I was just gonna say all depends who goes first because I could definitely see Detroit taking Willis at 2 at this point. If Willis
Really?
goes at 2, yeah, if Willis goes at 2, I don't think a trade is happening because I'm almost convinced that Carolina is in love with Kenny Pickett. It reminds me a lot of in 2019 how there was a lot of reports coming out that the Giants were in love with Daniel Jones and people were denying it and they were saying the Giants were going to be taking Daniel Jones. That's exactly what happened. I'm seeing the same thing with Carolina now. What is it, like 3-4 years later? And I'm just like, I could see it happening. So if Willis goes at 2, I haven't seen any other team that's really liking Kenny Pickett as much as I've seen the reports about Carolina. I don't know if I could see Seattle trade enough for him. I don't think so. I think Seattle would just wait until next year. I definitely don't see Pittsburgh doing it because if Pittsburgh trades up for any quarterback, I've been saying this for a while. I think it would be Malik. But if Malik's off the board, obviously they're not going to trade up for him.
It'll be
And I
Malik.
guess that does bring up the point that the only 2 quarterbacks that I think should go in the top 10 or are worthy of going in the top 10. Realistically, none of them are. But if there were 2, it is Malik and Kenny in that order. I like Desmond Ridder a little bit. I don't necessarily think he's a first-round pick. And like literally same thing with any other person in here, man. Matt
How do you
Corral,
feel
Sam
about
Howell.
Matt Corral? I was going to say, feel about Matt Corral.
Yeah, listen, hey man, in my opinion, Kenny and Malik should be going at the back of the first round, beginning of the second. But because of the, it's the NFL, they might go top 10. And so if I think that they should be second round picks, I think Matt Corral and the other boys should be like third round picks. But they're probably gonna be second round picks.
Well, it's funny because somebody I was listening to on a podcast, they asked, well, what do you think about Daniel Jones in this draft if he were coming out? And they said he's roughly in that same realm as these quarterbacks. They wouldn't pick him in the first, he would be a mid first round pick, like you're saying about Malik and Kenny, which brings me to my point is, everyone, I went on a rant on Friday about comparisons, and I know this has nothing to do really with anything, but people like to compare people. And what I want to tell people is this: you can't compare somebody in the draft with somebody that has 3 years of experience. You have to compare them when they came out together. Was Daniel Jones a better prospect than Malik Willis? Is Malik Willis a better prospect than Daniel Jones coming out? Not 3 years from now, not 2 years from now coming out, because when we play this game and any comparison, it doesn't have to be football. It can be basketball, whatever. We're like, oh, this guy reminds me of, Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whatever. And like, oh my God, he's not LeBron. It's like, no, dude, we're comparing his stats, his height, his weight, his measurables, and in comparison to somebody that you can see has a throwing motion. We're not saying he's going to be as good or as bad as that player. It's one of those things that just irks me, because when they have these player comps come out and everyone's like, oh, he's not Alex Smith. But no, they're talking about when Alex Smith came out, he had the same kind of mechanics as this guy. And you know who Alex Smith is? Strip the stats away. You can look at the player itself, like you do in Madden, and you read the attributes: 99 running, 98 agility. That's how they're looking at, a Desmond Ridder or a Malik Willis, right? I'm not saying he's Russell Wilson. I'm saying he looks like Russell Wilson, same build, same stock. So I'm sorry we got on my soapbox, but it's things like that just get on my nerves, and you try to bring up comparisons, and everyone's like, well, he's not that. Like, if you look at Daniel Jones going in on NFL.com, he's rated the same or lower than all the quarterbacks coming into this year's draft.
I even heard some people said that Daniel Jones would be the highest rated quarterback if he was to come out this year.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying what NFL what his draft grade was going in on NFL.com was a 6.3, and Malik Willis was a 6.4. There got Desmond Ridder's a 6.36. Like, they're all higher than him. Yet we're sitting here wanting to keep a guy or say this guy's going to be good, or when we compare them, we're like, oh, this guy's going to be not as good as Alex. You have no idea. All they're saying is this is their player comp. This is who you can reference to see what he may be in the NFL. Not saying he will be that. Not saying he's going to have those stats. Again, sorry I got on my soapbox. It's just one of those things.
Okay, bro.
I mean, at the end of the day, man. At the end of the day, these guys got to, they got to come in and prove to them. They got to come in and prove what they can do in the NFL regardless, no matter what. I've been around for a long time. I've seen many NFL drafts, seen many a football season, man. And I've seen a lot of guys that were blue chip prospects fall flat on their face in the NFL, man. So at the end of the day,
that's what I'm saying.
The reality is they got to come in and prove it anyway at this level. It's one thing to do it at the top college level, you know what I mean, which is pretty much, your big time Division I football, SEC conference, Big 12, those conferences like that. Yeah, those are the big and I'm bringing this up because there was they were having a little debate on the stream I was watching the other night, and they were talking about Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, you know what I mean? And it's nobody's a slam dunk. And you got to prove that you can play at this level. It doesn't matter what you did in college. It doesn't matter. This is the NFL. And
Aiden Hutchinson's got a lot of flaws in his game. Let's be honest. I mean, he's a top prospect.
There's nobody that's a slam dunk. And I've seen so many blue chippers fall. Like, I can go all the way back as far as Tony Mandarich back in the day. I mean, this dude was getting Sports Illustrated covers, all kinds of stuff, man. He was supposed to be the best thing.
Wasn't that the lineman for Green Bay?
Stop aging yourself, man. Stop aging yourself.
He was an offensive lineman, for Green Bay, man. And they
talking about the dude that I remember seeing a couple documentaries on that. He was buff as hell, bro.
Yeah, he went number 2 overall in the draft, and he just ended up falling completely flat on his face, man. Never amounted to anything in the league, man.
Him and Bogsworth, right? Brian
Bosworth was another blue chipper, came out all hyped up, and then Bo Jackson ran his ass over, and it was over for his career. So
that was it, man.
So it's until they come in, step on the NFL field and get the job done. To me, nobody's a sure thing, and they got to prove it, no matter who they are.
I agree. It's just mostly for me the comparisons that get on my nerves, because the people go down this windy road, and it's hard to have a conversation when your point is this is what it looks like. It's like talking about a Beamer, right? But the Beamer doesn't have all the same stuff that in the Beamer that you want. It's just we're just talking about when we came off the stock room floor. This is what color it was. This is the same size. Blah blah blah.
It's not an M class.
Exactly. No. I mean, and Daniel Jones is a Toyota Celica or whatever. God.
I mean, you roll the dice, and sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. Look at back in 97 or whatever it was, 96, 97, whatever year Peyton Manning came out. Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. Could you just imagine if they'd have made the horrible mistake of taking Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning, the coach? It would change the whole dynamic of everything. Ryan Leaf was a top blue chip prospect coming out. He was a quarterback being mentioned in the same breath as Peyton Manning coming out of college. Look how that turned out. I mean, that's just how this is, man.
Interesting fact about him. I listened to him on a podcast recently. He was on the Rich Eisen show, and he said,
"When you get a chance to, Adam, pull up Logan's last comment." But continue.
He said something about how he came in to the combine and he wasn't prepared to do anything, and that's what kind of hurt his reputation going forward, because he had a medical exam at the same time the Colts wanted to interview him, and it said that he blew off the meeting, and so his reputation from there on out was tarnished. So these pro days and these things are great, but like you said, you'll never know with these guys. Like people saying, Aiden Hutchinson's the next Joey Bosa. Give me a break. Okay, you might say that he looks like a Bosa.
I wouldn't even say that he has a similar pass rushing skill set to Bosa. The Bosa brothers, they're amazing, probably the best technicians. Aiden Hutchinson isn't even the best technician in this draft. So I don't get that comparison, man. That's crazy.
I think what it is too, guys, is just people trying to compare it because that's all they know. You know what I'm saying, Adam? And I know you know this. It's irritating, but at the end of the day, they can only compare it to players that they think that they're gonna.
Can I just say something real quick? There's probably gonna be some hate. I'm gonna be honest. I think the only reason the Aiden Hutchinson to Joey Bosa comparison exists is because they're two big white dudes that could rush the passer.
Yep. Hey, listen, there's no hate here. That's the straight truth. Every white guy's fan, Larry Bird or something like that.
They do not have, bro. They play differently. I don't see it.
I mean, personally, for me, the best pass rusher the two best pass rushers in the draft for me are Jermaine Johnson and Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Just what they can do physically. I like Aiden Hutchinson. He does a lot. He's a big guy. He has some anchorage to him, but I don't know how the game is going to translate in the NFL. If you are hoping that he's going to be a 10 or 12 sack guy, I don't know if that's him. So
let's pull up Hit's comment if you can read that for us, Adam.
I think he can have maybe as many sacks as Bosa did his rookie year, which was 8, I think. Not unrealistic, but...
I mean, listen, bro. Aziz just had 8 sacks his rookie year.
Right.
I think that man, with some correct coaching, could be able to go off. I mean, we'll see what this coach from Minnesota could do. He's, supposed to be a legend.
He's supposed to be a legend. I love it.
Yeah, he developed... Well, it's not even an assumption, because he got there in 2014, and then, what's his name? Daniil Hunter got there in 2015, and so... You saw what Daniil Hunter posted once we got him away from the Vikings, so I would assume, with good context, that he probably had a lot to do with Hunter's development and whatnot.
I was going to bring up another example. I don't know if you guys, because you guys are better with the draft stuff than I am. Back in I think 17, T.J. Watt came out. Who were the other maybe edge rushers that went ahead of him in the draft? Because I know there had to be a few, and I'm pretty sure right now they're not outperforming T.J. Watt.
There were a ton of edge rushers. He was picked 32 or something like that.
Yeah, he went late.
So obviously Myles Garrett went number 1 overall. Yep. Which is completely understandable, right? Completely understandable.
Myles Garrett.
Solomon Thomas, he's listening at defensive end, but I think we could all agree he's more a defensive tackle than a defensive end.
DT.
Yeah, he's not
And
good.
Derek Barnett was one, so Derek Barnett definitely not better than TJ Watt. Went to the Eagles. And that's it. Oh no, Charles Harris, some dude named Charles Harris.
Who?
I don't even know who that is.
Some dude named Charles Harris.
Here you hear. So Myles Garrett, understandable. Solomon Thomas, understandable because he's not really a defensive end. Derek Barnett, nope. Charles Harris, nope. Tack McKinley, bro, went ahead of TJ Watt. Is Tack McKinley still in the league?
He was fighting for
Taco Charlton. Remember Taco Charlton from the Cowboys? He went ahead of TJ Watt.
Wow.
And then TJ Watt went.
Man.
Wow. See that? That's what it is, right? And he's from Wisconsin, undersized outside linebacker, not going to translate. 2nd round pick, and Pittsburgh's like, he can fit our system. Now we all look like jackasses because the Giants could have got Ryan
the Giants could have had Ramczyk, or they could have had TJ Watt, man.
Ramczyk, what a stud.
And we got Evan friggin' Ingram, who's done nothing and just left us.
Now playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good riddance. Okay, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I will not be rooting for that guy next year. I do not care. Okay,
Corral is one of the best quarterbacks in the draft, my opinion, from what I see.
Just a quick update.
I think he has I think he has a compact throwing motion, which makes him throw nice, accurate lasers down the field. But pure throwing ability, Malik Willis has got the best arm in the class. Kenny Pickett's the most efficient quarterback in the class. Carroll has a well-rounded game, but I
don't know.
That's
Kenny
just me.
Pickett has little hands. I don't know because those little hands of
God.
his.
Give me a break.
He may forget how to throw a football when he gets to the NFL all of a sudden just because his hands are
Like
smaller
really,
than
like
people
come
would like him to
on,
be.
come on. I'll remember that. I'll remember that. Next time next time I go do something, I can't do that. My hands are too small. Give me a break.
But that's my problem. That's my problem with all these like the combine and pro day things. Like I get it, the workouts. You need to see these guys showcase their skills to some degree. But when you're gonna sit here and try to, lower a guy's draft status because his hands are smaller than you like them to be, like, come on, man.
Oh my God, guys! You wear a size 11 shoe.
He's been throwing the football for how long now? I think he has a grip on. I think he can handle it. I think he knows how to do whatever he needs to do to be able to still get the job done. It's just like the Russell Wilson thing when he came out. He's too small. Drew Brees, he's too small. He's talking about Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in history of the NFL. But he got drafted in the second round because people said he was too small coming out of Purdue. Like, come on, man.
I want you guys to know that I did.
That's what I'm saying.
I sent Miz the link on Twitter. He wanted to come in and say a few words. Hopefully, you guys don't mind. Miz, come in whenever you can. Go ahead, Adam.
Miz. Well, my point is this. This is why, like, a guy that falls, like Spencer Ritter, no one's talking about that guy much. But if you watch his game, he's a pretty good player, and he kept improving every year. That's a guy that I would take a flyer on in the second round if I had a chance. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor now. I'm not saying the Giants are going to do this, but if I had second round and I have enough picks, I'd take a flyer on him. Now, the thing I like about the draft is because we have the rookie wage scale, you can take risks now. You can do the things you don't normally do 20 years ago because you're not going to lose $60 million on a bust. You might lose a couple million and you can get out of it and move on or redraft a new person. It doesn't – I love the fact that the NFL did this because you get the trades, but it also allows you to be more flexible, like taking Malik Willis. He stinks in a year or two. Okay, well, I'll get another guy and not worry about it.
Well, that rookie wage scale was a great thing because it was at a point of getting ridiculous that NFL teams were literally paying unproven NFL talent. They were just paying them all kinds of bundles of cash, man. Like guys that hadn't played a single down in the league, man. So,
right. And then you get Aaron Curry's of the world who step in, get paid, and don't play football anymore.
I'm not trying to be rude because I know these players worked their ass off to get where they were. But at the end of the day, when you get hired from a new job, right, and then you got like a 3-month probation period, I think it should kind of be the same way with these rookies. We're signing these rookies early in the first round, and they're guaranteed all this money before they even take a snap. I think obviously they deserve to be. Some of them deserve to be there. Some of them usually wash out. But at the end of the day, I think we should change the structure of these. This is just me. You guys can agree or disagree. I just think that needs to be a more of a prevention, probation kind of period, rather than just guaranteed the first round pick. All these 30 million plus guaranteed. You know what I'm saying?
I would disagree just because then it takes away all of the risk, and at the end of the day, drafting is a risk. If you take away all the risk, then there's no, I guess, real punishment to teams that don't scout properly or don't draft properly. Like
that is a good point.
That.
The thing is also. It's also about winning, right? Like you got to pick the quarterback now to win, and most likely you're going to do that. If quarterback was just this ho-hum position, you wouldn't see guys like Daniel Jones or Malik Willis we talked about in the first round. They take them because they think that the guy is going to be good, right? The problem is that, what they need to do is what they did back in the mid-'90s is when you had a quarterback, develop him on the roster. But because winning is so, quick and everybody wants to win now, it's hard to put a guy that you drafted in the top 10 on the roster sitting on the bench for a year or two.
I agree with you, but it's also it's a double-sided coin because part of it is that, and then part of it is also, let's face facts, a lot more quarterbacks are coming out a lot more talented than they did 20 years ago. you're having more talent come out because they develop, or some of them develop quicker at the college level. So it's both of them. It's like that they're taking chances to see which of these quarterbacks are the ones that developed faster and are ready to go, because it is more like it is a bigger sample size of that. And then it's like, all right, we don't know which one it is, so we got to kind of toss them all into the fire almost.
And
Right. Well, it's also
that's a good point you bring up too, Hub, because the reason why I posed that question too is because, like, man, we wasted, I know it's not our money, it's the Giants' money, but like we're still buying the merch and stuff like that. We wasted so much money on our draft picks over the past 10 years. It's like, what do they account for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just sucks because so much buses rather than players that we can actually re-sign at their 5th-year option at the end of their rookie contract. But that's the NFL, and that's the way it goes.
If I can jump in with a quick NCAA update, man. The University of North Carolina is still up, hanging on to a 20-point lead against the St. Peter Peacocks. So that Cinderella story is on its way to coming to an end. But and also another quick update from NCAA: Villanova's guard Justin Moore will be missing the Final Four. Unfortunately, he did go down with a torn Achilles tendon.
Wow,
last
is he a
night.
starter?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was a starter. Very, very important player for Villanova Wildcats. It's going to be tough to overcome.
I was about to say that probably really ends their hopes. Villanova is a multi-time champion in the past decade, though, right?
Absolutely.
Like 2 times or something.
They
won 2.
They won in 2016 and they won in 2018.
Yeah.
And just the thing about Villanova is they're a national powerhouse, but they don't have good depth, and they only really run about a 6-7 man rotation. So losing Moore is huge because he's not only a starter, he's obviously part of that already limited rotation of players that they use. So that's just
and what you just said too. They are a national powerhouse because Hub just said they won 2. I don't follow NCAA, but I know who Villanova is, and I kind of agreed with him. Like, I was just talking out of my ass, but they did win 2, and I just guessed it. But that's how it's like. It's kind of like Alabama when it comes to football. You know, they're just a known team when it comes to that sport.
But Max, thanks for that update. We are going to get back to a draft question quickly. It says here, Hit Squad Production says, how early do the Giants go wide receiver? I think the first, 3rd rounder, maybe if they trade back and get a second one. I could see them going in the receiver anytime. I think as long as they get their tackle and their edge in the first 2 rounds, you can do anything after that. Once you get that, you can go shopping on any level. So,
because like what you said, as long as you get those 2 positions in the first 2 rounds, or what up, Miz, or if you include corner as well, if they address those in the first 2, I would go with 3rd round. I could see it happening.
Do you have any prospects you think they might get?
Not anybody that's going to last to the 3rd anymore. The guys that I thought were going to go in the 3rd have really risen since then.
I think now, just depending on how free agency continues to pan out, man, that's why I'm liking the way things are setting up for us right now with these 2 picks, because the way free agency, depending on the way the rest of free agency pans out, if we address the line a little bit more. The draft, we could go any direction in the draft. I mean, even as early as the 1st round. So I just wouldn't be shocked by anything that could happen.
Can I have a question? Why is everybody hating Thibodeau? Like, I just think he's still a stud.
He's the best player in the draft.
He's there at 5, we get him. He's there at 5, we get him, right? Like, I just see so much hate coming off of this guy. I'm like, come on, guys.
I don't even
obviously
know if
he didn't do anything yet, but
it's become so weird that I'm like,
wait.
Is there really something we don't know? Because you're seeing it out of every news outlet now, and I'm just like, there's no way he's dropping the way they have him dropping, because it doesn't make sense just looking at it from the outside perspective.
According to NFL scouts, his cuticles are too long, so we can't draft him in the 1st round.
Well, the thing is, I think he was injured last year as well. So that might have hindered his tape a little bit. People are saying that he's lazy and he's dogging it. Listen, I see a stud up there.
I was about to say the whatchamacallit, the work ethic is what I've probably been the most popular criticism. Like, I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
Yes, it doesn't translate on the field, what they're talking about. What they're saying doesn't look like, when I watch film on him, doesn't translate. Does he take plays off? What defender doesn't if it's not coming to your side, right? I mean, I'm not trying to give him excuses, but I don't know when he gets into an NFL camp, what will happen. Wink Martindale may know how to motivate his players, for all I know, right? And he comes in at 5. Wink makes him a star. He goes to Detroit. Yeah, maybe he does go, I don't like playing in the doldrum of Detroit. And that's if you go to New York and you win there, you could become a star.
So
Overnight.
I have a legitimate question for all y'all. Since we got Miz and Logan in here, if it's okay, I'd want them to answer first in that order since they just popped in, right? So if Thibodeau is there at 5 and the Giants don't take him, how do you feel? Like, are you trusting Joe Shane and Ryan Dayball? Or are you saying let me see what they do? Or are you just like there's no way we just popped up on him? So
That's a great
let's get
question.
the two.
It
the two guests
depends.
first.
It depends on who we were to take. If we were to take a guy like Akina Kwanu, I'd be like, I really wanted Thibodeau, but I understand why we just took probably, in my opinion, the best tackle in the class. But if we take Trayvon Walker, I'm breaking my TV. But I'll let Miz go.
I agree with. Listen, man, Walker's a real good player, but I agree. I don't want him at 5. Don't misunderstand me, Hub. I was teasing you earlier.
Bro, when
I think
talk about
Walker's a
Trayvon
real
Walker,
good player. But
yeah, when I talk about
Trayvon
Trayvon Walker, it's because he gets overhyped. I think he should go in like
It's
the
the
mid first
same
round to the
thing.
Eagles.
Oh yeah, man. It was smoke. There's smoke yesterday about him going 1. That's all bullshit. There's no way he's going 1.
But
No,
yeah,
we
so
were-
like if Thibodeau is there at 5 and the Giants pass up on him, what are you thinking to yourself?
I'm trust. This guy already has my trust, and I already admitted that I was loyal to Gettleman for too long, longer than I should have been. So that was my mistake. It looked to me like Gettleman checked out about a year or 2 ago, but I didn't recognize that, and also that his old way of thinking, that we've kind of entered a new era of football. So maybe the old ways do work, but in some ways they don't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm an old school guy myself, but I love this guy. I love what he's doing already. I understand that we're gonna have to give him 2 years, and I think we're gonna have a good team. Not a Super
So
Bowl
then-
team, but a team on their road up. And you might even start to see it in this year. But you got to give him this draft, next draft, and we have plenty of money for next year's free agency. But the things he's done with no money this offseason, you got to admit, he's making some changes.
So then I guess we'll go Zion, then Mac, then Adam. I guess same question.
It's funny because I don't really mean to do that, but me and Miz see eye to eye in so much different things, and I'm right there with him. Like, I trust the process, and I know that's an easy answer to give out. I know I should have an opinion, but if they don't feel that if he's there at 5 and they don't take him, and they take someone else, I'll be questioning it, but I won't really be questioning it because exactly what Miz said. I truly feel that the coaches that we have here, our GM that we brought in, has a clear picture, and we may not believe in their picture, but we're not making hundreds of $1,000s to do what they do. So I'll just believe in their process. I'll kind of be upset, but I won't be really upset, if that makes sense.
I'm not gonna lie, I'll be pissed off, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because
I was waiting for an answer like that.
We just passed up on Parsons.
a player with his skill set, to me, and considering how much of a need it is for this team, and a player with his skill set still sitting there, for all we had to do is bring his name on a card for the commissioner to read off, I'd be pretty upset if we didn't go ahead and pull that trigger. With that being said, I do have to have faith, like Miz and Zion were just saying, in Joe Shane's decision making process. At the same time, I will have faith, but I would be upset if Thibodeau was sitting there just waiting for us number 5 and we passed.
Would you be as upset when Josh Allen was sitting there and we took Daniel Jones?
I wouldn't be, because I kind of knew the Daniel Jones pick was happening, and it just really, I knew how in love the Giants were with Daniel Jones, and I just kind of knew we were going to go that direction.
Got you. Fair enough.
But Adam, what you got, bro?
Sorry, little visitors coming to visit me, but
Oh,
nah,
put
man,
him
I'd
on
be
screen.
pissed.
You want to see them?
No, he left. He got to get out. I got that.
Daddy's working.
He's gonna take my job soon, anyways. He doesn't need screen time. No, but seriously, I'm in better space now with this regime than last year, because last year our GM was too busy being spiteful to actually give a damn about actually building the football team correctly. Oh, I don't trade down. Yeah, I trade down. So he trades down because the media and everything trades down. So for me, Joe Shane, if we pass on Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm going to trust that they have a plan. I'm going to trust in their plan. Now, if they pick Jordan Davis or something like that, I will throw the TV out the window. Seriously. I know people are in love with him, but he's a 2-down player in my eyes. So I can't just be like,
If
oh,
you do that, make sure you record it for content.
I will record it. I will make sure it's on my phone and you guys can see me throwing it through the window. Hopefully it shatters. It's like when a table doesn't break in WWE. It kind of lessens the effect of the table. So I'll make sure it shatters all over the place. But for me, I trust Joe Shane and I like Brian Dable. I like his message. I like where they're going. The first signing that second signing that he had was Matt Gano. Now people are like, oh, Matt Gano is nothing. No, it tells me that he's already looking for reinforcements right out the gate. It's not like waiting all training camp to know that you have a problem, and then right before you're supposed. That's like going on a racetrack and be like, well, you have a flat tire. Oh, I'll trade it right before the race starts, and you get behind the 8 ball, right? Like, why would you do something so last minute? And that's another thing. He's proactive. We have a tight end, sure, not the best tight end, but we got one, right? We have 5 linemen that we signed already. We think we're going to get a couple more in the draft. We've got a nose tackle, which probably should be Dexter Lawrence, but we got a nose tackle. We got some Jihad Ward guy who everyone raves about, but the guy played like is booty, okay? But we got him for cheap, and he fits with the system. I'm serious, man. People are sitting here telling me Ricky Seals-Jones is the next coming of friggin' Jeremy Shockey. The guy is $1.8 million. You're telling me he's good? Give me a break. But anyways, I digress. Hub, I'll move on because I'm rambling. I'll get into it.
I just will say, we're still drafting a tight end.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Trey McBride season. I
Ask
don't
a
know who,
question.
but I just
That's
I
what
just
I
feel like
asked
we're
this
in a
was.
position. I was just gonna say, I feel like we're in a position to get the best tight end because I feel like the best tight end is probably gonna go in the mid round. So why not get the best tight end in the draft?
Right. I don't care if you were getting him at 2 in the second round.
That's what I'm saying. We'll go tight end before we go wide receiver, I believe, because Hit Squad asked what round you guys think we draft a wide receiver. But I think the 3rd round is the prime round for us to get a real tight end.
Well, I believe that we can get a lot of stuff in between rounds 2 and 4. We've got four picks there. We might get more if Bradbury's moved, and that's the meat of the draft. And this is where you're going to get a lot of your role players with the guys you want to develop to eventually be starters. And if we get an extra 3rd, that's when I could see a wide receiver. But I wouldn't see one. I don't think we're going to see a wide receiver unless there's someone that jumps off their board anytime before the 4th round, just for me. Just because you have so many other needs to address, interior lineman, middle linebacker, tight end, heck, even running back if you wanted to, that receiver is lower on the priority list, even though we don't have many in our locker room right now.
I was going to bring up one. I just wanted to bring up a question to the panel, if I can. Just want to know you guys' opinions on a prospect that I can say I've fallen in love with him a bit myself. But the New York Giants also seem to be falling a little bit in love with this guy. How y'all feel about Mr. Sauce Gardner? How would y'all feel if he was one of the picks, one of our picks in the 1st round?
To be honest with you, Mac, I didn't know his name a couple of weeks ago, but his name's been popping off on my radar. I've been looking into him. I wouldn't be mad at it. I'll let Logan know goes because I know Logan been doing a lot of research on the guy. So go right ahead.
I'm gonna give a quick answer. He's the best corner in the draft. The Giants need him at 7.
Well, I wouldn't
Hub?
need him
Your
at
thoughts?
7, Logan.
Okay, so for me, I've known about Sauce Gardner since essentially I started looking at the draft back in January, and it's crazy. He went from being the number 2 corner that was kind of challenging Derek Stingley to being like almost the consensus number 1. I want to say in about a month or 2. I will say though, there are legitimate concerns with Stingley, specifically the injury issues. And Sauce's last year or 2 in college has been just amazing. One thing I want to get out the way is people comparing him to DeAndre Baker, at least Giants fans. Let me correct myself, purely because of the confidence. And it's like confidence isn't a bad thing. It's really not. I would love to have a confident corner. Like he said, he wants to be the best cornerback in the league in his rookie year. I'm like, I want you to be the best
Right.
cornerback in the league your rookie year if we draft you. Like I like that. It's just you gotta walk the line between confidence and like cockiness and ignorance. Like you gotta walk that line very carefully. And then also, just because he has that and he has the same thing DeAndre Baker did, which was like he didn't allow a touchdown his final year of college. I believe Baker came out with the same thing or something similar. It was either that or one touchdown allowed in his career, somewhere along those lines. Very similar stats. I'm just like, why? Yo, that's like saying apple and oranges are the same because they're round. I'm like, there's nothing else to draw from that other than the fact that they both had similar stats and they're both really confident corners. So it's like, and I've been a fan of Sauce Gardner for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. When it was first pitched to me, taking him at 7, I was against it because at that time, I was under the impression we could still find a way to keep Bradbury, and all of this just depends on Bradbury for me personally. If we get him out of here, then you got to take Sauce at 7. I feel like you would.
See, that's why I disagree because I don't like. I know Logan.
Because here's my thing, right? Because there's only 2 positions that I want at 5 and 7. It's tackle and it's edge.
Yes, sir.
If we take Sauce, one of those positions is gone. I would assume it would be tackle and Sauce.
So you wouldn't go Kayvon Thibodeau and Sauce Gardner?
I think that it would make sense that if they take Sauce at 7 to just take their chance at a dude that just got injured in David Ojabo at 32 because he's going to drop and let him heal up and then come in next year.
Can I ask you a question,
how long the Achilles takes. Yeah,
and you can answer it too, Logan. For me, is like I'm not a fan of getting rid of Bradbury and drafting a quarterback that early. Now, for me, you guys do more research, obviously, with Logan and Hub. You guys see like us like trading that 7 pick, and do you see Sauce Gardner being there in the teens or in the high teens?
He's gone.
He's gone.
Not
Listen,
a chance.
He's gone by 10.
He's gone.
We said it earlier. We all said it earlier, right? Like the draft isn't even necessarily a science. We said it with the picks. Like there's dudes that we think are sure things that are not sure things.
Yes.
So I'll just say in terms of probability, he's probably not going to be there past 10. You know,
I just don't know if I'm
just
comfortable taking a cornerback in the top 10. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel you because I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I can't let's be honest. What's the last corner taken in the top 10 that lived up to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We can name day in, day out the last edge rusher taking top 10
Jalen Ramsey.
that lived up to their expectation.
Yes.
Jalen Ramsey, he was what was he, 5th overall, I think probably?
6.
Yeah, he was something
overall.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like he's the last one, but that's what, 5 years ago, man?
Yeah.
It's like 5-6 years ago. It's a while. It's been a while. So I'm with you there, Zion. But it's like I said, if Bradbury is gone, is the move to make. Because you got Stingley if you want to take a chance on a guy that's injury prone.
Make a big play,
you do that. You do that, right? And then after that, you got good guys. You have good guys. Andrew Booth, Trent McDuffie, they're good guys.
People forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it comes down to if you want somebody that could legitimately be one of the best corners in the league.
The number one corner on our team, and if not, like, could work his way up to being the best in a matter of time.
Yeah, in like a very little span of time.
I think
It's the same thing for the edges, by the way. It's the same thing for the edges with Kayvon and Hutch, and then after that, there's good guys. But it's like if they're there, you probably take them because they could work really quickly.
After that statement, I for sure need to go do some more research on this Sauce Gardner kid.
Well, Sauce is good. I think Sauce is good in the fact that if he does come in, he's an automatic starter. With the second round pick, you're not necessarily doing that, and the Giants don't have any veteran in front of him. Like if the Giants had a veteran corner to fill in for Bradbury, and then they wanted to take a flyer in the second round on a guy, I would say.
See, that's why I think Adoree Jackson could be that veteran corner.
Yeah, but we have nobody on the other side, is what I'm saying. Like if Bradbury were here,
Robinson can step up. Robinson.
Yeah, but I'm not putting my faith in a third round pick. He's a third round pick for a reason.
But he did have a good season last year for his first season. You have to admit that.
Well, he missed his first 6 weeks due to injury, Robinson.
Well,
Number two, why not let the kids play and somebody develops into a starter? Because, like we said,
we did that last year with the linemen. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is Wink Martindale wants a blitz-heavy, man-heavy defense. James Bradbury is probably going to be gone. Adoree Jackson is a zone guy. Darnay Holmes is a tiny zone guy. Rodarius Williams just tore his ACL, and we don't know what Aaron Robinson is. I think we. I was
gonna say you bring up a great point with the injuries as well. People do forget about the injuries, but the best point you brought up was Wink, and I said this in my Bradbury video. I made a video on Friday talking about James Bradbury. I'm like, I want Bradbury to stay. I think everybody in this panel, unless this is gonna be a surprise, wants Bradbury to be gone, but everybody
want
wants him to
Bradbury
stay, right?
gone.
Just a quick
I
nods.
spent $80 on his jersey. Of course, I want him to stay.
I want.
Like,
I got news for you, man. I got news for you. By Tuesday, Bradbury's not here.
Well, I think
That's
he's
not the
just
question.
statistic.
But let me finish my point. That wasn't the question, though. I said, do you want him to stay? Not do you
No,
think
I
he
hate
should stay?
Bradbury with a passion.
Let him finish. You will be muted if you don't let the man finish. Okay.
I was just gonna say what it comes down to is if Wink, we could sit here all day and talk about, I think Bradbury could fit into the system because he's a man corner, because he played man in Carolina, or it all comes down to whether or not Wink thinks he can. Because believe you me, if Wink goes to Joe Shane and tell him, hey, you can't get rid of my number one corner, that's the guy that's gonna be the best player in this defense. He's gonna lock down people. I believe he's gonna be a star here. Joe Shane's gonna find a way to keep him.
That's
If
true.
he doesn't do that, then Shane's gonna get rid of him to fulfill his $40 million quota. That's how the NFL works. You work with your coaches. So if Wink is like, he's somebody that's expendable and I believe I could replace him, whether that's with somebody already on the roster or somebody through the draft, that's what it comes down to. We don't know what Wink is telling Shane.
I'm gonna
Hold
answer
on.
it real
One-
fast, and
go
then
ahead,
I'll let you guys go. I'll let Logan go, and then you can go. I was joking. Yeah, I have his jersey, but like to be honest, like I'm not trying to be mean, man, but like you can miss me at Bradbury. I won't be mad if he's not here next year.
Yeah.
Well, look,
I don't.
my thing on Bradbury is I'm look you Hub. I wouldn't mind if Bradbury did stay. Because honestly, to be quite frank, I'm satisfied with his production the last couple of years, and I feel like he's been effective. You know what I mean? People think he had because he had a little decline this past season. Well, he had a pretty damn great season a couple of years ago. So it's kind of hard to stay at that, to just continuously maintain that level. But he still played good this past year as well. Overall, I mean, he had some dropped interceptions and things of that sort. But I think overall, I'm definitely would be on board with keeping Bradbury. But like you just said, in the event that we can't hang on to Bradbury, then I would like you said, I would be totally on board with go ahead and getting Sauce Gardner, because in this Wink Martindale defense, you need a cornerback that can take away at least one side of the damn field. You know what I mean, from the opposing offense. And Sauce Gardner brings that kind of skill set to the table.
He's not just a man corner, by the way. Sauce is great in both man and zone. Like he's a well-rounded prospect.
Hold on. Let me just say this, man. No, the reason why, maybe I'm wrong. Nobody's touched on it yet. But the reason why Bradbury is gone, and it's not because he's not a good corner. He's still I still think he's top 10 cover corner in this league. He's real good. Adoree was better than him last year, but that doesn't mean Bradbury's not the better corner.
Watch this.
But,
It's his contract. Watch this.
Yep, 100%.
contract.
You gotta understand
much.
something, man. You guys, the
Wait,
Giants
hold
are down.
up, Miss. Let me
Hub,
pause you for a second. Because
The
I thought
Giants
this was
are
just
down to
implied.
$2 million,
I thought everybody on
bro.
here knew that. I thought
I know.
everybody knew that. I
I
thought it
know,
was
so I'm
implied.
just saying. The Giants are down to $2 million. They can't even afford their drafted players that are coming. He's got to go. It saves them $12 million just for the draft
Knew you
alone.
was gonna say that.
I
I'm sorry,
agree
man.
with
I
you.
just knew you was gonna say
I
that.
agree
Broke
with you.
that
I
up
just
to
thought-
last year's regime. That's why.
I just thought that was implied. I didn't know we were about to state some. Like everybody knows this. Everybody knows this.
Oh
You
no,
know
what
I'm
kind of?
saying?
What
Everybody
I'm
knows
saying,
this.
Hub,
He knew
what I'm
that.
saying, I know you know this. What I'm saying is, we're handcuffed. We can't afford the draft that's coming in.
That's where I disagree, and that's where I say
ahead.
it goes back to the last point of if they want to keep him, they can find a way to keep him. If they don't want to keep him, he's
agree
gonna
with
be the easiest way to free up that cap. Like he is the easiest and most logical way to free up the cap because of his contract. Automatically, not only does it hit that quota that Shane set of 40 million, because we're about halfway there, and his contract is around 20 million, but then it's enough to bring in draft picks as well. And I think our first two, like, not only that, we might be forced to trade down from 7 or 5 because we can't afford 2 top 10 picks. We might be just forced to trade down from.
Thank
7
you
or
for
5.
saying that, Hub. We say that because a lot of people forget about how much money these 5th and 7th pick is going to cost us. A lot of people forget about that.
Well, that's why the
To
Giants.
get back
I
on-
was gonna bring that up to you.
I mean, no, guys, I cut Hub off, so let him finish.
No, I
Sorry.
was just gonna say, like, there's ways to free up the cap. The cap does catch up with you. That's why Shane said he didn't want to push money back. He can push money back. He doesn't want to do it though, because it's what got us here in the first place. But if they really feel like they could replace him, then it checks off a lot of boxes. It checks off the box of, hey, we need to get this contract off the books. Checks off the boxes. We got money to sign our our draft picks, and hey, we could replace him immediately with one of those top picks.
Well, James Bradbury, I feel like you can't go wrong with a good corner. He gives you flexibility if you decide to keep him, right? And I'm sure they can make a restructure if they want to. I'm sure that's a plan there if they want to.
By the way, Bradbury wants a restructure. If you go on his Twitter and his likes, he liked a couple tweets that said he would want to stay with the Giants on a restructure. So that's why I'm more so believing that they just believe that he doesn't fit is what it is.
Well, that's what they did with Logan Ryan. They knew that Logan Ryan wasn't a fit here. They both talked it out, and he moved on. Bradbury, if you can get something for him, you trade him, right? Because this is a rebuild. I'd rather have him go to Kansas City, get a chance to win a ring or go to the playoffs than sit here and lose another season with us if we're not going to be good next year. That's another reason I trade him. I'm in the rebuild mode. Get as many assets now for later. What I mean by that is you get draft picks, you get players, you lay your foundation now, and then next year when you have more money, you can start bringing in your free agency, and this is where you'll have your maneuverability to get the quarterback if you deem Daniel Jones not the guy. So for me, that's the only reason why. Otherwise, why not keep a guy that had 3 interceptions? It was basically a shutdown corner in the second half of the season last year on your defense if we want to continue to win. Just a thought. But yeah, I'm going to let Big Play get a few words in here, and then we're going to get on to our next topic.
Hey, yeah. What up, y'all?
What up, Slay?
I just overheard y'all talking about the James Bradbury thing. I mean, I personally agree with most of what you guys said, especially Kush. I think James Bradbury, he would be a good fit with the Chiefs because they're in that mode where they want to get to the Super Bowl, right? So you add a guy who is around that veteran age, and then you try to go out there and win a Super Bowl, and it's a need. So I would look at James Bradbury if I was the Chiefs. However, I wouldn't look at the Ravens situation if I was James Bradbury because you're just going to a situation where you just came from a team that had the same exact type of scheme. The defensive coordinator right now for the Ravens is kind of like Wink Martindale's scheme. He's blitz heavy, so why would you trade him to the same exact scheme? If you wanna keep him with the Giants, that's why I wouldn't trade him to the Ravens. It makes no sense for them. It just wouldn't work. So that's why I would trade him to the Chiefs if I were you guys.
Well, I mean, they got to want the trade.
I'll bring up a point that Miz brought up that I completely agree with, that some Giants fans are ignoring, which is that I still think he is a top 10 corner in the league. So getting back to the Chiefs, the rumors are like the Giants are asking for a 3rd or a 4th, which I'm like, yes, please ask for that, and this is where some of you will definitely disagree with me. I'm not trading him for a 5th because he's one of the best players in the league at his position.
100%.
I think it would be crazy to trade him for a 5th.
He's proven it too, Hub.
No, they're not trading him for a 5th. I guarantee they get a 3rd. I guarantee.
If he can get a 3rd for Bradbury, like I am not opposed to trading his ass.
The Chiefs definitely have the assets too.
This is what happened last week. On Wednesday was the deadline, and teams thought the Giants were going to be squeezed into dropping him for free at 4:00. But Sean is a fox. He turned around and said, "No, I'm not going to drop him."
He's a fox?
Yeah, man, he is, because
I'm sorry.
other guys, like, let me tell you something. Gettleman would have dropped him. And he would have cut him, and another team would have scooped him up for free. But Shane said, I'm going to pay him his $2 million bonus, like the way you guys don't think I will. I'll pay him the $2 million bonus, and I'm going to wait for my draft pick. And now he's going to get a draft pick.
Well, Gettleman would have restructured him a 3rd time because he loved it. I mean, that was his guy. So I don't even know if he lets him go. But I hear what you're saying. For me, you can never have too many good players. James Bradbury, I don't say his name much, so he didn't really. It's not like he stinks. He had the first half of the year that he wasn't playing well, but that's because they played him 20 yards off the ball. Now I don't know why that was the strategy, but when you have guys catching the ball in front of you, you look bad, right? The more volume of passes, he did get beat here and there, but towards the end of it, like I said, he ended up with the same numbers he had in 2020 when he first came on here. So he's not a bad player. As for the compensation, you're right. I probably wouldn't give him up for a 5th. A 4th allows me to do many things. We could trade the 4th back up and get into the 3rd round. You know what I mean? Those are valuable assets to have in the draft because they could be ammunition to go get a player you want, like they do with Aaron Robinson. So the more middle round picks I can get besides a 5th, like a 3rd or a 4th, I'm all for it.
That's the thing. He's about the 3rd. Like I'm not gonna not saying that you disrespected the guy, but for a fourth, like that's Bradbury. He's still a stud cornerback. Whether you want to believe it or not, this guy is a stud. He may not be top 5, but he's for sure in the top 10, like Hub said. And I just think that we can get away with getting a third with him. Now, if you keep him, yeah, we all know the salary cap situation, and yeah, we all know that Joe could finesse it. I think it would be a good guy to keep. But if they just let him go, I won't be as mad. I won't be mad if they let him go for a fourth or a pick. He should be let go for a third, and he deserves that.
Well, look, I was gonna say, look, I could say like as far as this with the trades, I'm always on me perfectly fine with improving this football team. However, we got to do it. But I'm never gonna be okay with just giving away our players. I'm never gonna be okay with that. We got to, as long as we're getting the proper value in these trades, then I'm all for it. Like this whole Saquon Barkley narrative is ridiculous to me. People literally that just want to absolutely just give him away for nothing. That's a joke to me.
I agree. He's probably
Luis,
going into the best coaching situation ever right now.
exactly.
Yeah, of his career, yes.
If we're not getting, if somebody's not offering us a second for Saquon Barkley, we're not even entertaining the phone call. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be anyway. I mean,
if he has a great first half of the year, that's when you trade him, right? You go, okay.
And
Someone
let me
got
add this too, like
the trade deadline comes.
Name a running back at Saquon Barkley's level. Like we know it hasn't been the Penn State Saquon Barkley. We know he's been injury prone. But name a running back at his level that you can get away with paying $7 million a year.
None. I mean, even James Conner got paid. He's not the back caliber of talent that Barkley.
Yeah, for a scheme fit though, James Bradbury is definitely proven that he can be a top 10 quarterback. So you have to get a fair trade here, and
that's why he gets off.
DM is doing.
And I'm not trying to take the easy way out, but I honestly, and I'm not saying Hub took the easy way out, but I honestly believe our coaching staff hurt Bradbury last year more than helped him.
No, I agree with that. I mean, can you count the amount of times? At least I could count the amount of times when I was calling a live game and he's playing like 10 to 15 yards off. It was ridiculous.
Which your defensive coordinator was so flip flop with the scheme last year, though. I noticed.
He wasn't No, he was very consistent with his scheme. It's just that the scheme was very, very, very soft.
Yeah, I mean,
it was weird.
Well, the thing is, he liked to match up the scheme with the team he's playing, so he didn't have a regular defense he would go to. And as the Hub said, he was playing off the ball, which when
like, chill, stop it. Why are you calling that right now? I'm sorry, I'll let you guys finish, but it was so. Don't let me think about the 2021 defense, please.
It played a bend, but don't break deep. Like I'm gonna allow you 10 yards. I'm gonna allow you to march up the field, but somewhere along the field, I'm hoping you're gonna make a turnover or a mistake. That's
and you know what the thing is?
They also were always terrible in did we set a record, I think, for letting scores happen right before the second half or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't play bend but don't break in it.
at the end of the second quarter, we were just our defense got trashed damn near every single game. At the end of the second.
No,
quarter.
it was every single game. So I think it was all 17, maybe an exception of one, but that's why I said it was probably a record.
You got to understand also, man, the offense as the year went on did not sustain any drives at all. And your defense was on the field the last 7 weeks. The last 8 weeks, it never came off the field, man. The defense was on the field.
We can revisit history, but your defense, if it's good, gets you on the field and gives you more at-bats. That's what a good defense does. It makes your weakness its strength, meaning it goes out there and scores points for you. It did it in one game this year, maybe two, that they actually scored points. Every other good defense, they get turnovers, they get sacks. We don't get turnovers. We let teams march up and down the field, kick field goals. Yeah, that's great, but if your team can't score, what does it mean? What does it matter? So for me, that's just,
Just touch on that turnover thing, Adam, right quick. We squandered a lot of turnover opportunities this season, if I mean, from what I can just remember seeing. I mean, a lot of potential interceptions going through our D-backs' hands, just not getting on loose
even
balls.
when we got turnovers, what game was it that we got we had 2 picks and the offense couldn't score?
Us.
Those 2 picks.
It was against us.
Oh yeah, it was against you guys. It was against you guys. We had like 2 or 3 picks and we didn't capitalize once.
Right.
So
what I'm saying is
let's not forget,
defense.
the offense was like tragic, man. The offense was like watching a tragedy happen on the field.
Yeah, man.
The offense started off the season not so great, anyway, and they got actually even worse as the season went on.
I don't know how that happened.
I mean,
Well, I'll tell you,
know
what
what happened?
happens.
Nick Gates
It's what
went out
people
week
left.
2.
People laughed at us, right? Here's the one thing. Then you go, Zion. Sorry. Here's where the
That's
biggest
all I
thing to
was
me
gonna say.
was the offense wasn't good anyway. It had injuries and all that. When they fired Garrett and they thought they were doing something big, they made things 20 times worse.
I agree with you, Miz. I tweeted out the second it happened. I was like, Jason Garrett is a big, make no mistake. He's a huge problem with this offense. But don't you for a second think firing him was gonna fix anything, man.
Yeah,
And that's
it was more
exactly
like
what
a
happened. Because it's like
scapegoat kinda
it's
thing, yeah.
everybody under Garrett. It's the philosophy that Judge
Facts.
ran. Like it's not him alone.
I was
But then
watching,
he looks like an
Professor-
idiot because nothing happens when your best friend Freddie Kitchens doesn't improve anything.
Well, real
Okay.
fast, Adam. I was just gonna say, I remember watching week 2 in Vegas. I was at the sports book, and Nick Gates went down, and I just knew from that point onwards. Like, I'm not saying Nick Gates is the be all end all, but I just knew from that moment when Nick Gates, that was an injury that we couldn't afford at that time, especially that early in the season. And I think
And then
right
we just
after
had
we
more and
lost
more
Nick
injuries.
Gates, it just went downhill. Absolutely.
I think that's the game that was the season for the Giants. If there
It
was
was.
ever an early season
was.
game, that was it. They win that game, maybe the season goes differently.
And
Maybe we
Daniel
don't do
Jones was
Gates.
playing lights out fucking football that game. And
Well,
I'm
what
sorry
game
for
are we
swearing
talking
because he
about? What
was.
game?
The first
Week
game
2.
against Washington.
The Redskin
lights
game
out
is where
football. I
Daniel
wouldn't say
Jones,
lights out
Daniel Jones
football.
was putting the damn team on his back. Damn near only
Yeah.
nearly almost carried them to victory, right?
I wouldn't say lights out football, but he played good enough to.
And then obviously
help
homie
Definitely
jumped
one of his
off
better
sides
games.
and we
Definitely
lost
one of his
him.
better games.
Yeah, it
he,
was-
he shouldn't have lost that game. Let's put it to you that way. He shouldn't have lost that game. That game, we should be talking about Daniel Jones probably in a different light because of that game. But that was a microcosm of the Giants season. And
Yeah,
it's
put
a
up
reason.
Logan's last comment if you can, Adam. That's a
Yeah, the
perfect
big
statement.
he had a big touchdown run pulled off the board in that game. He had the Slayton touchdown drop.
That game
Right.
broke us.
Oh my God! Yeah,
That game
man.
broke us.
I
And then
think
Dexter
Slayton
Lawrence
that's what I
catch
jumping
said.
the
That's
off
what I
game
sides.
said.
winner.
Dexter Lawrence jumping off sides in a fucking field goal.
Yeah, he
serious?
never
That
jumped
wasn't
off
even
sides.
offsides,
Bullshit. He
man.
never
I
jumped
know.
off sides,
Yeah.
man.
Right. It wasn't offsides. That was bullshit. And
That
and
was-
that's
That
where
drop, that was it,
that's-
man. The
that's the
drop
thing,
by
though,
Slayton. The drop by Slayton was it. That was the game.
But that's where New York needs to come in and get the refs together and be like, we're picking up the flag, we're redoing the down. Because I'd rather have them redo the down than cost us 5 yards in the game or say no penalty and pick up the flag and the game is
Well,
over. Because that's what they're
Adam-
doing in the headset anyways.
Miz says it the best. Miz said it a lot of times last season, and he says it the best. It's like they pick on bad teams. Like if you're a bad team, the referee
Yeah.
don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like until you prove how to win, then they're gonna take your side. Other than that,
Yeah,
it's
but the
like,
Redskins weren't that much better than us either. So,
Wait,
No,
Yeah,
but they had
Commanders.
high hopes going into the season. Washington people were picking them to win the division. Remember? So
what's up, champ? Thank you
Guys,
for being here.
I know this is not easy. We got to remember they are the Washington Commanders now.
Commanders.
Let's try to remember to refer to them
Oh,
as the
the
Washington
commies?
Commanders.
That's good.
They just
But
don't
it's
have,
Since apparently the Redskins is a politically incorrect term now, so
well,
Thank you, man.
since we're on my
Absolutely.
channel, it's not politically incorrect because they were called that for 85 years. So I'm not going to change now because
The
some
reason
woke
they're not,
climate
the reason
wants
it's not
to tell me.
politically incorrect is because they actually met with a Native American.
Thank
political
you.
group when the name was established back in what was it,
Look.
the 20s or something. I remember when I think I made one video on it back in 2019 when they did the name change. I was like, if they want to do a name change, do that again. Meet with that group again, or if there's a replacement governing group and see what they say. If you want to say something's politically incorrect, how about you go to the people that you're saying it about? It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys know, there's a funny story about Speedy Gonzalez. Back in the day, Americans thought that Speedy Gonzalez was whatchamacallit, was disgraceful to Mexicans, and they took him down. Like they took the cartoon down for like a year or so. And like actual people from Mexico went back and said, "Why'd you take it down? We love him." And they had to put it back up.
that's what I would
You know
think.
what it reminds me of?
Wouldn't they?
It reminds me
Wouldn't
of
they
people in
take pride in
California
that?
getting offended for other people. That's the worst thing about California. It's like people get offended for other people. It's like, bro, I didn't even offend
whole
you. Why are you
country,
getting
bro.
offended?
It's the whole
Right,
country
continue
now.
though. I don't want to go
You know-
downstream. Let's keep it
we don't
on.
Yeah,
go
yeah,
down. We're not going down this
yeah.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's
We got to
start.
move on from Washington because I'm going to keep dropping the R word in this.
I want to
politically
throw
correct
something out there,
stuff.
Adam. I want to throw something to the panel on a
Go
new
ahead,
topic. When you almost touched on it, so we might as well go there. Just my opinion is this: You talked about your most likely picked at 5, and I could very well see us picking Sauce at 7. Very well, especially if we trade Bradbury. But I'm telling you, to me, my most likely at 5 is that I think we're in prime position to trade out, and the money has something to do with it.
Oh, I'm completely.
I think he's really going to look to trade out. That's why he already put the word out there that the phones are open.
Yeah, no, it's all the money. Partner. Like I was saying earlier, I'm with you, man. We can't afford to stay at 5 and 7 right now. We have to. I think we're going to be forced to.
Well, yeah, and if you trade out a 5 hub, you're also thinking about next year's quarterbacks, which are pretty good quarterbacks. They're thinking ahead in case things don't work with Jones. You'll have 2 1s next year. I mean, that's what I would think they're aiming at. But
if you trade out, you don't think Jones works because you're probably going to get 2 firsts, and there's no point in trying to keep beating a dead horse. You might as well go get that quarterback and just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Tired of this guy and coddling him. He's not here next year if you get 2 first-round picks. Now, if you sit here and take Cross and Thibodeau, I can say, well, I don't know what they're going to give up next year to get a quarterback. But if you drop back and you get those 2 picks, that's immediately what you're telling Daniel Jones. Hey, we have ammunition. We're going to go up and get our guy. And they should. They shouldn't wait and let Daniel Jones be the deciding factor on whether or not they go get a quarterback or not. Wow. All right.
Are you talking about this year, Adam?
What? I'm saying if this year they trade out, no. What I'm saying is if they trade out of the 2 picks, one of them, right, and they get another first rounder next year.
Okay, gotcha.
That to me tells me already, Daniel, you're not going to be here. Now, there's a 50-50 chance he could be if they don't do that because they'll say maybe we like Daniel enough, we'll roll the dice with him next year. If they trade out, he's already gone. Don't even worry about 5th-year option. Don't even worry about what season he has. Know that he's officially going to be gone. That'll tell you.
I'll say this. You want to talk about 5th-year option? Why is nobody talking about giving Dexter Lawrence the 5th-year option? Did y'all see what defensive tackles signed for in this market?
I would give it to him.
They're getting overpaid. Get that man his 5th-year option. Bro,
Sexy Dexy needs to come back, man.
Austin Johnson got a $14 million deal. What are we doing? You got to give him the 5th-year option.
That's crazy.
Well, that's another one of those. That's another one of those I'm perplexed by. Like, do you not like him? Does he not fit your scheme? Why are you not giving him? If all the picks we had to give 5th-year options to, he's a guy who'd be like, all right, why not?
Well, can they still give it to him in season?
They have it in May.
October?
They can't give it to him after
the deadline
May.
is in May. The deadline is in May.
Or after May. Okay, so let's see.
So May, what happens is that contract is dropped. So you would have to sign him now for a higher contract, probably if you were to give him money, or lower, depending on wherever it goes. But
or maybe just his value, they extend them or something. We'll see. But like they need to keep him. We don't have defensive tackles right now, man. Like we just signed a couple of depth guys. That's it. But all we got is Dexter and Leo. And like,
but we got to keep some of our good players.
Maybe they're waiting for the draft.
I think Dexter's a really great player.
I would do Haskell Garrett in the mid rounds. I would do Travis Jones in the mid rounds. There's a couple of guys, but how about like we have Joe Shane stick to his word and keep our own first?
Right.
The thing is, it's not his own. It's not his own. That's the thing. But I do think they're going to keep that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's not his own, but I definitely think he definitely implied keeping players that were here before him because Gettleman didn't do that. Gettleman didn't keep Collins, even though Collins wanted that insane money. He didn't keep Collins. He didn't keep Odell. You could name anybody you want. There's a lot of people we just let walk.
It's so fast.
The only guy was Sterling Shepard.
I look around the league and I see all these teams like offering second contracts to all the players they drafted, and just look at the Giants. It's like we let everybody walk. It's like when's the last player we actually re-signed to a multi-year deal? After
Sterling Shepard, right?
Right? I mean, like it's just
the only one.
We need to build through the draft, man, because that's what we really need to do. Because that's obviously you can't always be Sean McVay. Sean McVay is a fluke. But other than that, it's like we build through the draft. That's how you build the NFL roster.
But that's why they're making moves out of desperation, man. Listen, man, they traded B.J. Hill for a bum, and on the right before the season started, because they were desperate. And B.J. Hill went to Cincinnati and had 11 sacks. Okay, come on. And he did it for nothing, man. He did it for $20 an hour.
I mean, like he wasn't the best, but Dalvin Thomason put in work in Minnesota.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but like you said,
Dalvin
you can't let your
Thomason.
guys go.
I officially say Dalvin Thomason. The fans care too much about him and don't care enough about BJ Hill. BJ Hill was a way bigger loss than Dalvin, man. And then we look at Austin Johnson. I said the same thing. We got so many people crying, just whining about Dalvin being lost last year. Let's call it what it was. Nobody's talking about Austin Johnson. He had a better year in 2021 than Dalvin did in 2020. Austin Johnson, for those of you that don't know, was tied 3rd in the league for run stuffing, was 10th in the league in run stuff percentage, and overall as a run defender was one of the best in general, no matter what stats you're trying to look at. But nobody's talking about that.
Now you white Hub because I was one of those fans that was in love with Dalvin Thomason.
BJ Hill.
I thought he was a good player. You know what I'm saying, Hub? You feel me on that, right?
At least you're being honest.
I am honest. I'm always honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I
never
get
try
where you're
to.
coming from. It's just like
Yeah.
how it's they're, and I'm saying just the Giants fans in general, they're ignoring the other players that were at that position that mattered more, in my opinion.
I think, well, on the field, I see what you're saying, but I think also with Dalvin Thomason, you got to remember he also was a captain of the defense. I'm assuming good locker room guy. Just that, one of those kind of guys you just good to have around on your roster even to help the development of the young players with the younger players as well. So I think that might be why I think it was a lot more outcry for the Dalvin Thomason.
I was just thinking with him and Dexter
I'm gonna be
Lawrence,
honest. I think there was more outcry because
That's
this
such a good
combination of that and
combination.
him being a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Okay, that's a
Well,
fair
I think he
point.
helped Leonard Williams on the defense. I think he
Yeah.
did a little
It was all a package. It was a package.
BJ Hill didn't have 11 sacks.
He had 5.
10?
Yeah,
10
he
and
had
a
like,
half? No.
he had like 5.5 sacks last year.
You're out of your mind, bro. He did not have no 5.5.
Hey, look it up, NFL.com right now. I'm staring at it. It
Can't
says
you just
5 and a
look
half
it up on
sacks.
Exactly what
NFL.com?
it says here.
Listen, in my
I
mind, he
like
had
that
10 and a half sacks, all right?
Well, that's why if you're the GM, you're giving him double the money because, hey,
Come on,
He got paid nothing, Adam. He got paid pennies.
Miz, come on, bro. We can't have false takes on premium takes. I'm just joking, bro.
This is
Well, what
premium
I'm
take,
saying is
not
this,
false
man.
take.
What I'm saying is the Giants and anyone who's older, like Mac and Adam, they know the Giants have been supplying the NFL with big-time defensive tackles for decades. It's a fact,
Look at Logan.
True indeed.
right? I'm not making that one up.
No.
Eval
I was just
Joseph.
joking, Miz. You're the best.
No, I'm just
It
saying.
still kills me.
That's
Just
why
a quick NCAA
we get back to the original point. Is some of the other guys don't want to keep Dexter, and I think people are crazy. I think Dexter's a hell of a player, and he's still very young, man. He's still coming.
Dexter is also a complete mismatch, man. Like, we forget that. He's a mismatch.
Well, they're
of where
playing
they
him
put
out of position.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's good. He's good there. If they could switch him into nose tackle if they want to, but I feel like he's just such a mismatch on that. I forget what it's called. Right there outside the nose tackle.
three
I
tech?
keep forgetting what it's called. At the 3 tech. Some guards just can't handle him. Do you know how many times that man got double teamed and held last year? It was crazy. They were holding him almost every game.
Yeah, he turned to the ref and was like, "What are you doing?"
Exactly.
Call that. I like Dexter Lawrence. I want to keep him because I want to keep our own. It tells your players that, hey, that people like it here. They want to be here. You know what I mean? You don't get guys like Dexter Lawrence come around every time. When you actually draft one, you need to keep one.
Yeah.
And someone said something about DeAndre Baker and confidence. DeAndre Baker had red flags with his work ethic. There was nothing wrong with Sauce Gardner's work ethic that you need to worry about. So if people are thinking that the overconfidence with him has to do with, like DeAndre Baker, no, those are two different players. DeAndre Baker was lazy. He was confident he was the best player in the SEC, which he was. But he also was lazy, had a bad work ethic, and didn't do what he needed to do. Sauce Gardner right now has none of those red flags coming out, so I would not be worried about picking him at 7 or 5 or 7.
I think the only thing you can really give a knock on Sauce is because he played really not too much competition. That's the only thing I can base it off
But
of.
Cincinnati went 13-0, man. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah, but who are they playing in their conference stats?
Listen, I get it, but that's an argument that we have for a lot of people. I mean, you could say the same thing with Malik Willis.
Why
And why he's not.
Kayvon, bro? Like, Kayvon played at Oregon. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, if you're a good player, you're a good player. I don't care where you
I
come
agree.
from. Like, you just need to be good. Now, if you're telling me he's a Division III prospect, maybe we need to do some more homework, and you can tell me that the competition's there. But he played in D1 school, and they went to a bowl game, and they were on national TV, and the guy shut down everybody in his sight, right? So why am I going to be worried about, his competition? I just need to worry if that man can reproduce what he did in college on the NFL field. That's all I care about.
Mhm. I understand that. I can get that logic.
Trouble in the chat. Buko.
Oh, Chris Bucco, the silent assassin. DeAndre Baker had no character. Sauce has great character. That's what I was telling you guys. You didn't have the flaws that he had. He shut down Jamison Williams, who is obviously, if you guys know, is the best receiver or one of the best receivers in the game with Alabama. So, you want to talk about drip? If that's what the kids are using these days, drip, sauce, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm not too familiar. Street days
Wait,
are behind.
I gotta hear what context you're about to use it in to see if you're even using it correctly.
Because Deion Sanders had that drip. Okay, he went to the combine. Okay, he ran drills and then he ran out to the combine, and someone said, he ran to guys and they told him, you need to go back. He's like, don't worry, I'm not even going to be around in the draft when you pick me. That's how much he had. Did anyone say, oh, you know what, we can't pick him, he has too much confidence? No. Atlanta went on to pick that Jerry Curl guy, and boom, he was dripping all the way to Dallas. Sorry. I know.
He dripping with lemonade.
He did have a pretty nice Jerry curl when he got drafted.
He was dripping from his hair too, not just the jewelry or anything. In 1989, he was dripping from his hair too. Go look it up, Jerry Curl, for all you young bucks.
Stingley's right up there too, man. I know he had a little injury, but Stingley's a real good corner, man. Right at the top with that Sauce guy, I'm telling you. Sauce might be a little better. He's healthier, but
I'll definitely say this, man. The health plays a big part. The health plays a huge part between the two.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if he's healthy.
He's a real quick, man. He's a young kid. They heal fast. At 19, 20 years old, whatever it is,
Like, see, if I can be candid right now about Sauce Gardner, the reason I'm so high on this kid, and I hope with the number 7 pick, we just go ahead and grab him, honestly, is because I just don't want to miss out on what I think could truly be a generational talent for years to come.
Right.
Seriously. I don't want to miss out on that. I just don't.
Get him, Mac.
And I don't want to pass that up because we feel like we don't need a cornerback, not our biggest need. Sometimes
the Giants have no swagger on defense. Get a guy with some swag, some grip.
When you
Let's
see
go.
A special guy there, and you really feel like he's special, he's that guy, you just gotta take him. And it doesn't
Give me the hot sauce.
matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't want to miss that boat. I don't want to not pick him and then watch him get picked by whoever the hell else, and goes on to have an amazing Hall of Fame career. And I know that we could have had that guy. He was sitting right in our laps. You know what I mean? We just passed him up. I don't want to watch that happen to us.
I got a question, Mac. I got a question for you. If we actually trade 5 because we got a big trade and we got to do it, so we do it. You come to 7, and now what's left on your board is Sauce or Cross, and you know both is in need. What are you doing, man?
Sauce.
Look at Mac. I got Mac tight. Look at that. Look, it's turning colors.
Got to get that sauce, man.
Because yo, Mac, that is real. That that may happen.
So is Kayvon.
But here's the best I can answer that. I still will go Sauce because the way I feel about Sauce Gardner. I just don't feel that way about Cross. I think he's a good player. I think it would definitely fill a big need for us as well. But I could just see Sauce Gardner being that next guy. And he could be that like you said, Revis Island 2.0, right. Deion Sanders, one of the next great cornerbacks to grace this league.
Bart Scott. Bart Scott called him Revis 2.0.
Sauce to our defense. Oh, just you like that. You're putting that on a t-shirt. No, but seriously, he's 6'2". He can flip his hips like Bucco is saying, like a 5'9" corner. He's a rare find. So Mac is right. You don't find guys like this every day. You just take them and go. Cross, technically, I heard some people think Penning and Cross are almost at the same kind of value-wise. Now, people like Cross more. They want to pick him in the top 10, but I'm hearing all types of things where guys after a certain point in this class can still be had. Now, if you're trading down, you can then take Zion Johnson. I'd be happy with that. It'd be Cross and Zion Johnson, right? Or Cross and Linderbaum. I know a lot of people love that guy, but if you get Lyman and Sauce, what does it matter? As long as you fill the O-lineman and a defensive player, I want an edge personally, but a defensive player minus a D tackle, I wouldn't be so sad. I mean, I'd even take a linebacker with a trade down. But here's an idea. I know everyone's going to hate it. Miz, you would pull your hair out if you had some. If they took Kayvon Thibodeau and then Sauce Gardner at 7. I know the Twitter's blowing up right now.
Oh, yeah, we're going nuts. Well, I got another one that might scare you, which I would not be happy with, but it is what it is. I wouldn't be shocked if Sauce even gets past the Jets, because that's a chance too that the Jets take him at 4. But if he gets past them, whatever, they take Fib, let's say, and the Giants could go Sauce at 5 and Hamilton at 7. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Also,
don't forget Raphael.
I wouldn't be a fan of it, but it's like it's a thing of Hamilton is a great player, but it still doesn't mean that I'm gonna be a fan if we take 2 secondary players, man.
Would you be mad if we pick Hamilton with one of these picks?
It's so hard for me to answer that because I don't know if I'll be mad at any pick they make. I'll just be disappointed and sad more than mad. I'll be like, I want to know what your game plan is. You know what I mean?
Well, should you be mad if you take Hamilton with that first pick and then still get an offensive lineman with that second pick?
Bro, it all depends who's on the board, man. If Akeem is on the board and we take Hamilton, I'll probably be mad because I view him as the best tackle in the class. I view him personally as the best, like one of the best players in the draft, right?
Even Neil.
Yeah, you could still take
right. So it's like
at 5.
I don't know why people are acting as if it's guaranteed the tackle's gonna be there, bro. Like Carolina could fall out of love with Kenny Pickett, or Carolina could take a tackle too. What's the need for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not act as if Carolina doesn't exist at 6 now. So it depends. If you're saying somehow, some way 2 tackles are there, then all right, yeah, sure. One of them is gonna be there at 7. Just based on that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm personally just like throwing it out there to where like you can, let's say Sauce and Hamilton are right there, and you could either scoop one of those guys at.
I'm taking Sauce because this is my personal opinion. I think starting number 1 cornerback is more of an impact role than a starting safety.
Okay, I mean that's a fair assessment, and I would still take an offensive lineman with one of those first 2 picks.
We got to come out. If we do have both picks, I mean, again, we're gonna go back to the same thing we've known for years. If we do make 2 picks and don't trade back one, if we come out without a tackle, man, it's bad. It's just not good, man. It's not.
Yeah, if I were you guys, I would take Aquana with that first pick and then take.
You got to be there. The people have got to be there to take them. We're like, oh, he's going to be there. We have no idea, but in the same realm, as long as they take a lineman that is there, if Aquano and Neal are there, I don't care. Take one of those. If Neal and Cross are there, whichever one you think fits the system, I don't care. I need a lineman. I know don't normally say this, but I need a lineman.
Are we talking about Aquano though? Like, is Jacksonville seriously not going to take him with the first pick overall?
Wait, Mac. We're talking about a Jacksonville team that just signed Christian Kirk to $20-some million. It's not out the realm of possibility.
Christian Kirk, oh my God.
Okay, and he messed up the entire wide receiver market. All of a sudden, Tyreek Hill apparently never liked his time in Kansas City. That's so fake, by the way. That man's got to be one of the fakest personality in the NFL just for that, bro. He's acting as if he was suffering in Kansas City. He wanted out and whatnot. Nah, bro, you saw Christian Kirk got the bag. You wanted a bag, too.
Right. Yeah. Like, I'm better than that guy.
He went to party, bro. Like I told Buko to me, he went to Miami. Like everybody goes to Miami. It's not about football. It's about the nightclub, the beaches, and the girls, and that's all they care about when you go there. So they're not going there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. He had a choice between Miami and the Jets. He should have picked the Jets.
I said that all week. I told Buko that. He's in the chat. I told Buko in the gym. The day that the trade was going down, an hour before the trade happened, when it was still on the table for both teams, I told him in his face in the gym, because we go to the same gym, I said, yo, if Hill is serious about taking a team north and serious football, he go to the Jets. But if he's done with football and he's going to collect a pension and party, and he's going to Miami.
Because here's the thing, I don't want to continue to throw on Tua. So instead of saying something negative about Tua, I'll just say something positive about Zach Wilson. I believe Zach Wilson is a better deep ball thrower and can deliver the ball to Tyreek Hill better than Tua can.
Oh,
I
Well,
agree.
Will Bucco says it in the chat. Zach Wilson is greater than Tua. Like, I agree.
He
I think
is.
that's the weak link of Miami. I don't know
Yeah.
when Tua got an arm that Tyreek Hill thought, oh, let me go there. He's the best quarterback I've seen. Yes, let's go to Miami. Like, to me, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't even know if Tua's going to be that good this year. I'm sorry.
Also, yeah, no, that's another thing. For other than the quarterbacks, yeah, the Jets have made a lot of good moves this offseason.
DJ
Miami,
Reed,
like, they got to
DJ
upgrade the QB
Uzomah.
position because they got Teddy Bridgewater. That's about it.
All right.
Well, what is the over under that he's starting before the season?
Yeah, the Jets.
I think
did
I'm
make
you
it.
guys. I don't know. I'm not even saying this as a joke, but I looked at what Teddy did last year with those first 3 games in Denver. I'm like, if he has a full season in Miami, he would go off. Respectfully, I think he would
my
go
God.
off.
He's got better arm strength than Tua.
All right. I mean, I agree with you, Kush. I think the Jets.
Yo, I think Tyrod Taylor would do better for Miami than Tua.
Oh,
I'll
that's
be
a
honest.
fact. He has an accurate arm. It's just that he just has like weak areas in his.
Well,
No,
maybe
he
Miami.
can throw. He
Boys,
can
they
throw what
saw.
they're running right now, bubble screens, because that's what they're going to be running.
And also,
bubble
yeah, I'll say
screens
that
all
like,
day.
yo, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek are gonna kill it with the screens, and they're gonna kill it with the crossings and the short slants.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
And that's
don't
that's
think so,
gonna
bro.
be very guardable because if teams understand that they keep doing those little screen bubble plays,
Yeah, but he doesn't throw deep. Tua's not a great deep ball thrower.
But guys, I just
He'll-
want to
he'll
say
do.
I gotta head out now because I got my
No,
own
no.
stream in about like 50 minutes. I want to rest up before I start that. So thank you guys for having me on.
right,
Shout out
thanks a
to
lot.
all y'all here, man.
Appreciate
Hub,
it.
his
Hold on,
link
bro.
is in the description section. Sum up to the Hub. He's going to have a great mock draft this evening. Hub, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate all your knowledge. Really is fun, and we look forward to having you on again soon, maybe after the draft or closer to it.
For sure, man. Have a
What's
good
up,
one,
man?
guys.
You too.
Take it
Bye-bye,
easy,
man.
bro.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is not football, so we're going to cut you guys out now. So, sorry. But unless you like wrestling, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I
to
got you, man. You have a good night, man.
But big play Slay, thanks for coming on. Miz, we're talking about your least favorite topic, and that is wrestling. So it's up to you what you want to do.
My boy Stone Cold is back. That's all I know. That's my man. And I was watching some of his latest clips just before the streams today, which got me hyped up because I'll be honest, that guy puts on a show. So I kind of enjoy him.
So that was the Hub. Those were our guests. Thanks for coming on, everyone. We are now moving into a topic that is
I
near
do
and dear
wrestling
to
thing. I'm
me.
going to bounce out at him, but I'm going to watch him in the chat. Anybody
All right,
can-
Miz, thanks for
Zion,
coming on. As
Mac,
always.
thanks for having me. Give me some time. Thank you.
All right, brother. Appreciate
Like
you.
I said before, guys, if you like any of the content that we're creating, Mac, Zion, and the Hubs, links are all in the description section. Click up, sub up to those guys. They do great work. We appreciate everyone coming on right now. We're going to move on to our next topic. Just because we had a lot of football knowledge, Hub was on. It was kind of a special show. That's why we ran long with that segment. But here we go with the next question. Fellas, what are you going to do when WrestleMania runs wild on you? Mac, what matches? Zion, what matches are you looking forward to when you're watching Mania? Mac, I think you have a presentation you want to tell us about.
Well, I had, we just gonna run down the matches. The breakdown. WrestleMania is a 2-night event. Next Saturday and next Sunday night. And
You're muted, Zion.
Oh, I said Mac has a PowerPoint. Let's get it.
know about all
You
that.
said you have a presentation.
We could just run down the matches, go over it. We could go over the matches real quickly. I guess we did because we ran a little long with football today. But like night one, one big announcement just came in, breaking news that came in earlier. I believe it just came in like yesterday or something like that, as a matter of fact, that they've switched the AJ Styles and Edge match was scheduled originally for Sunday, and they switched it to Saturday now because they feel like they needed to give Saturday night a little bit more, like a little bit more of a superstar male presence. So that's what their excuse is. I have a different theory there as to why they moved that match from Sunday to Saturday, and I'll be happy to go into that right now real quick.
Please do, because I think this match for me is the best match on the card. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on why, because I was just watching SmackDown yesterday and they're like on Sunday, Edge and AJ Styles. And now you're telling me breaking news on Premium Takes that it's going to be on Saturday. Mac, get into it. Let me hear what you got.
Yeah, see, the WWE has released a statement saying they felt like they didn't have enough male star power on Saturday night edition of WrestleMania.
Star power.
But
male star power? Wait, what?
I think the WWE knows, just like every other fan knows, that this AJ Styles and Edge match is going to probably steal the whole freaking show. So they moved this match because they didn't want anything to get into the way of what they're booking as the biggest match in WrestleMania history between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They didn't want anything.
Isn't that every year, though?
They didn't want anything to steal their thunder. So they took this match, this sensational match, and moved it to WrestleMania Saturday night, which, you know what, for what it's worth, I'm perfectly fine with, because now I get to see the match sooner. That's how I look at it. Now I ain't got to wait till Sunday to see the match.
Didn't a couple of years ago that Roman Reigns matchup with Brock Lesnar was so boring that the fans started playing with a beach ball?
Yep.
Absolutely, because these.
I'm just saying.
I'm not sure what they got planned for this match this time around, but the last time these two hooked up, it was not a very impressive showing. So I mean,
the problem is they made WrestleMania 2 nights, Mac. They made WrestleMania 2 nights. That's the problem.
They didn't last year too, Adam.
No, I know that, but that was because of the pandemic and they wanted to get everything in. But normally it's one night, right? It's me and Mac remember that it starts at like 7, maybe 6:30, and then goes to like midnight.
They changed it to that one because a couple of years ago that WrestleMania went for like almost over 5 hours. I feel like, and they just felt like that was too long.
Yeah, but it's going to be 2 5-hour events on Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know, because right now, as far as what's scheduled right now, you got 6 matches on Saturday, and right now you only have 5 matches scheduled for Sunday, with 2 more potential matches potentially, because there's a couple spots. Apparently, there's maybe a match with the big guy. Omos may have a match.
Thank you for the record, for the fans, and for myself as well. That's next weekend, correct?
Yes, sir. Next weekend. Yes. And then Seth Rollins, with all this has been going on with Seth Rollins the last few weeks on Monday Night Raw.
We appreciate the love, Logan. Thank you so much.
There's going to be a spot for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. We just don't officially know what it is yet. So they're expecting that to be on WrestleMania Sunday, those 2 things to happen on WrestleMania Sunday as well. But let's get to WrestleMania Saturday right quick, man. We got, looks like we're going to have Charlotte. I'm getting interference from somewhere. Looking like we're going to get Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey to be headlining WrestleMania Saturday. Looks like that's going to be the headliner match, the main event for WrestleMania, even though they've moved Edge.
Let's stop there, and let's give your thoughts on who's going to win and what you think might happen in this match.
Hey, well, absolutely. That's not who I think. I'm pretty confident that I know. I keep hearing interference or something.
Raphael, man, your mic is. You got to mute your mic, man. All right, go ahead.
But yeah,
I think that was my fault. That was the faucet went in the background. I'm muting my mic right now.
No, it wasn't that. I was hearing the stream.
I think it's Raphael's mic. He needs to turn the speakers down.
Echoing. But what I was hearing, lost my train of thought. Charlotte Flair, okay. Absolutely, Ronda Rousey's winning this match. She's gonna walk out of WrestleMania, out of Dallas, Texas, with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Just the way. I hope so, Mac. I know wrestling. I've been watching this for years. I know how it goes down. I've been watching the build-up, the booking for this match. Every week so far, we've got Charlotte Flair one-upping Ronda Rousey for the last few weeks. What's going to happen is she's going to keep building it all up like that, and then it's going to fall flat on her ass on Saturday night at WrestleMania and lose her title to Ronda Rousey. They did not bring Ronda Rousey back to go against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania and to not win the title. That's what they brought her back here for. That's what she's going to do.
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We can, Raphael, but real fast, I had a question for Mac. But Mac, she's legacy, bro. That's a share.
Nah, I think he's right. I think he's right.
He's totally right. I was just trying to make a joke.
My question to you, Mac, though, is she going to tap out, or is she going to be?
She's tapping. She's tapping.
Not only is she going to tap Charlotte Flair out, she's going to tap Charlotte Flair out with the ankle lock as opposed to the arm bar.
Really?
That's exactly how she's going to tap Charlotte Flair out.
Ric Flair kind of move.
She's going to pay homage. She's going to pay homage to the guy she wrestled her first WWE match with when she Ronda Rousey joined WWE. If anybody knows, her very first match was at WrestleMania in a mixed tag team match. Her tag team partner was Kurt Angle, and she's going to pay homage to Kurt Angle and tap Charlotte Flair out with the ankle lock. And that's how it's going down, man.
I really hope she takes her rowdy personality and becomes like Rowdy Piper and starts to be evil and do good stuff with this belt. Because I think Ronda Rousey evil is even better than Ronda Rousey as a face. I just think you can do so much with her. But that's a good prediction.
Fast? I'm sorry, guys. If I'm going off track, but I just think that Alexa Bliss deserves a title, and I'm just gonna stop there, and you guys can continue.
Oh no, she does. She does.
Right now she doesn't even have a spot on WrestleMania at all.
Spot.
But she gets concussed.
Not even a TV spot.
Well, you know why? Because they got rid of the Fiend and her whole character.
Why can't Sasha Banks be in title contenders? I don't know.
She's in
Man, we don't know about it.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get emo right now, but I'm so washed. It's so arrogant of all these washed up matchups, and I don't want to get. Like it's still fun. I'm still gonna watch it, but it's kind of like we have all these great talent that doesn't get the due, and that's just me. And I'll let you guys continue.
Well, can I say something? Because I've been loving about wrestling, but I'll never forget these WrestleMania matches between Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero. The Rock was electrifying. I will never forget the moment that Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. It was WrestleMania. I'll never forget that moment. And Kurt Angle was just like a shooting between Brock, but that was amazing. And I will never forget about the striking of the Undertaker, because he was incredible in all WrestleMania editions. But I love that. But sorry guys, because the mic is still in an echo. But there was it was just like a little noise right here. But can you guys hear me? Because
let me ask you something before you continue. What is your favorite match of this year's WrestleMania?
My favorite is gonna be between Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. So far.
Pat McAfee, let's get it.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna get to that match, Mac. Where is that on your docket?
That's on WrestleMania. That's on WrestleMania Sunday. I was figure we talk about a few more matches on WrestleMania on Saturday night.
WrestleMania Saturday.
Let's talk about night one. So we got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. We got Rey Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. We got Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I didn't even know that was a matchup.
Yeah, that was Baron Corbin.
They've been building. That's going to be another good match. A surprisingly good match. It's been a lot of build for that. They built that match up the proper way. They've been feuding since a little before New Year's, so they've had proper build up.
Did he end him at day one?
Well, at day one, he injured Drew McIntyre at day one when he put his neck in his head.
Oh, right,
or whatever. And
exactly.
Wait, why is it? I'm just being a dick right now, but why isn't the Viking Raiders headlining? They're the Viking Raiders.
They don't have a spot on either.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and before I leave right now, I just wanted to say salute to the chat, salute to the panel, Zion, everything. And if you need to talk about the wrestling things, I'm on it, because I know everything about the wrestling things, but salute to you.
Well, why are you leaving, Raphael? You should stay and have this conversation with us.
Yeah, but right now
you got busy. I'm just putting you on the spot, but you can leave it to me.
Yeah, because I have some family things, but I just wanted to say that
take care of family, man. Family first.
And Zion, I will message you to later on private message so we can talk about wrestling. So salute to you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on, Raphael.
Raphael, good to see you, man.
Yes. Memories on WrestleMania. Thanks for support, guys. We're going to continue on with WrestleMania.
And I'm sorry, co-host. I'm gonna shut my lip and let you guys go.
Well, let's
I've been
go
just-
into the Bianca Belair Becky Lynch match for the Raw Women's title, man. I was a little surprised that they put both the women's title matches on the same night, on the same show. But
It
really,
opens
Matt,
with that
come on.
match and it closes with the women's match of Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. And
it
Matt,
might
Yeah, but,
very
but
well be
Ronda
that way,
Rousey,
but-
Charlotte Flair is a better draw than Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. No offense.
Well, that's the main event for the night. That's the main event for Saturday night is Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. That's not what I was just still just thinking this got two different women titles, two different brands. Why would you have them both on the same night of WrestleMania? But either way, they do. And I think Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, how this match, I feel like as much as a lot of people may want to see Bianca Belair take this title back from win this match, I just feel like Becky Lynch is going to continue her dominance in the women's division, to be quite frank, and go forward because she's been shot to the moon right now. I mean, I don't know a woman that's moved up the ranks the way she did, because I'm not saying came up from NXT and she was always good, but she was seeming like she had that little steampunk gimmick and she was still just finding herself. But then when she transformed into the man, it's like just nothing touching that right now.
Did you take that from Ric Flair?
I mean, wherever she took it from, it's working.
Somebody told me she took it from Ric Flair because that's what he used to say. If you want to beat the man, you gotta beat the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I just feel like Becky Lynch is going to come out on top and hang on to her title in this match, and it may still continue with a big her Bianca Belair feud going forward.
No title change.
I'm not trying to interrupt because like you guys obviously like have solid points, and I'm not trying to be an idiot on the show, and I'm not trying to disrespect women, but like, man, this diva division got so whack. I missed the early 2000s because, like,
actually, they're not bad. Some of the matchups they have right now are bad. Like Bianca Belair is pretty
like,
good.
She's good, but like, where is like, come on, like Trish Stratus?
No.
Wilson,
I gotta cut you off.
Michelle.
I gotta stop you right now.
Mac.
I gotta stop you right now, bro.
Okay, go.
We're gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna tell you right now. In WWE, the women's division has never been better than what it is right now. As far as talent. They don't. The fact that they don't use their talent right.
I'm just gonna put my hands up, and I'm just gonna say I'm sorry for being a guy. That's all I was saying.
The fact that they don't utilize their talent the right way is what the travesty of justice is. The fact that they waste away what a lot of these women can do, some of these other girls can do on this. Like I said, I've talked about it before on other streams. Naomi is probably the most freakishly athletic woman on the damn roster. She's not even in the she doesn't even get in the title picture anymore. She doesn't get any kind of chance. Shayna Baszler is keeps getting put into just ridiculous tag teams after tag teams. Like she's not a tag team wrestler. She is a dominant singles performer. She should be in the damn title mix. She should be in the title mix. She should be going against Charlotte Flair. You shouldn't be bringing Ronda Rousey back in for this match. You should have Shayna Baszler should be getting the opportunities like this.
WWE.
This is the way they use their talent. So
wasn't Baszler brought in to beat Ronda Rousey? Wasn't that her supposed to be like a storyline? Right?
Logan.
Like Ronda Rousey comes in, her best friend Shayna Baszler or somebody she knew comes up the ranks, and it was supposed to. I thought this was supposed to be a match at some point, but it never occurred. I agree with you, Mac. I don't want to stop you on your rant. Keep going.
Well, I mean, I'm good. I just had. It's just the point that.
What? Oops.
Yeah, the women's division. They have the talent. They have more talent in that division than they've ever had, man. And it's a shame. It's a shame that they're still not being utilized properly. For one thing,
Logan, you're banned for 1 week.
For one thing, I feel like you don't have enough of the ladies to have them brand split. You should just have
with the Bella Twins match.
Division.
They had better wrestling matches when the Bella Twins was
Okay.
there.
Can I try to navigate this here? Can I try to navigate this here?
Okay, I'm just being a guy. I'm gonna stop.
The Attitude Era saw some extreme women do some extreme things. right now, this is like the 1980s for me of women's wrestling. Like if you think of Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, that is what the wrestling right now for the women's division is. They have all their characters. They have so many wrestlers. There's so many different talents. Bianca Belair is good. I love Alexa Bliss. Sasha Banks is great. Bayley went from being a nobody to a somebody, just because of her character getting over. We only had Trish Stratus and Lita, in China,
Michelle,
and Luna.
But
See, they had Stacy Keibler. Well, don't get me wrong.
back in those,
Yo, come
I
on,
mean, look,
Stacey
back
Keibler.
in those
Come on,
days,
let's
look,
go.
I'm gonna tell you straight
Come on,
up.
man.
Yes,
Let's be
yes,
real.
no,
Stacey
no.
Keibler, let's
Look,
be real,
I'm
bro.
not. They were all good to look at. Those
That's
little
what I'm saying.
lingerie,
I'm
little
sorry.
bra and panty matches. But
sorry, it's
okay,
alcohol.
yeah, they
I'm
were
sorry, it's
fun.
alcohol.
They were fun to look at. I mean, yeah, they were nice pieces of ass. But what I'm talking about is WWE never put females in a cage until Sasha Banks and Charlotte
never
Flair.
respected females,
Until
right?
Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair got into that Hell in a Cell match. That was the first time WWE put women superstars in a cage. Now you got women elimination chamber matches. You got the
Royal Rumbles.
Royal
about
Rumbles.
time.
Yeah.
You got the what's the
Well-
other big one that they do on NXT every year? The War Games, War Games matches. Like, this is unheard of territory for women wrestling in WWE anyway, because they've been doing it in women wrestling other organizations for years. But in WWE, they've been they've been trying to hold up some standard that the ladies maybe shouldn't be doing this stuff as rough as the men.
And that's
Nobody like Ronda Rousey has ever been in the women's division. That woman gives you goosebumps when she walks out because something's going to happen. But let's move on to the next match, and let's keep these matches
Rey
going.
Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul.
I really don't have any care in the world for this match, and I almost don't want to waste my breath talking about it.
That is the go to the bathroom match. If you need to go to the bathroom, get some food, take dumps, drive around town, that is the match to do it in.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna have to take the mic from you, man. You guys, my co-hosts are just up here disrespecting Rey Mysterio, saying that you should go to the bathroom.
I'm not disrespecting Rey Mysterio. I'm disrespecting this match. This is a joke. This is just a joke of a match.
Right? Like, there's no competition. Obviously, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
Logan Paul, like, give me a break, okay? Like, what are we doing here? They didn't even give like a guy from NXT. They got Logan Paul, who, yes, he's an influencer, social media fan. I know what you're trying to do there.
And I didn't mean to put words in your mouth, Mac. Yes.
But give me a damn break. The match, you should go to the bathroom because the match is probably going to be caca. You probably have more fun on the toilet than you will with this match. Just saying. Anyways, next match, Mac.
All right, next match we got Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss.
I mean, Drew McIntyre is going to win.
He better.
Happy Corbin's coming into this undefeated since he's been under the name Happy Corbin. He's been undefeated. But Drew McIntyre is going to win this match. I mean, right now, as of late, Happy Corbin has been getting the best of Drew McIntyre with all these little segments here and there on what are they on? SmackDown or Raw? I can't even remember. SmackDown, yeah, they're on SmackDown.
I'm going to counter, Mac. I'm going to counter. I think McIntyre is going to be pushed in the match, but Happy Corbin is going to win by disqualification of some sort because it'll make him happy. It'll be a heel turn, and it won't make Drew McIntyre look bad because he'll beat him up and down the ring. But I can just see Happy Corbin or Madcap Moss trying to pull a roll, and then Happy getting disqualified and still being undefeated. You know what I mean? And then that could be a storyline going into, I guess, whatever pay-per-view they have, TLC or Fastlane or whatever comes next.
That's a fair point.
What's next?
We got the tag team title match. The Usos, the SmackDown tag team titles. Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs.
I love those two together.
I honestly, my take on this is the Usos still leave out of Dallas with the gold, man.
No,
I just don't, because it just doesn't seem. I don't feel like I see the WWE right now putting the tag team titles on Shinsuke and Rick Boot. I just don't see that being the kind of team right now. They're a fairly new team. They're a fairly new team still. They don't have that team camaraderie of the Usos. I just feel like if they were serious about the Usos losing their titles at WrestleMania, this probably wouldn't be the team they'd be going against. And it's not a knock on Shinsuke. I love him, especially as an individual. Rick Boogs is a pretty good up and coming guy. What he's doing, but I just don't feel like I see them changing the titles, putting the titles on Rick Boogs. And it's not anything to do with what they can do in the ring. It's just I just don't see it happening.
The Usos are a staple, a top of the top tag team, one of the best tag teams in WWE. I would like to see a different change of the titles, but to Mac's point, I kind of see where he's coming from. I'm an average WWE fan. I didn't even know who Rick Boogs was before I looked his name up. I just feel like I'm gonna pass the mic to Adam.
I think they're gonna win, and here's why. I know I'm probably stupid, and it's probably not gonna happen. Everyone's gonna blow up my shit for saying, "Oh, look at you! You predicted a fake sport wrong." Anyways, my point is, I like if you're gonna have Roman Reigns with the title, you can't have Roman Reigns not have a title and then his two stooges have titles, because that would change the whole dynamic and make Roman Reigns look terrible. So in order for Roman Reigns, they've got to fail, and Roman's got to be back there thinking about their failures all night, and then he goes and fails with Brock Lesnar. Then the entire bloodline has no titles.
That's why I got a rebuttal. Here's my point. That's what I think they could do. What they could do with this is run with it like this. Run with this storyline, whereas the Usos still got the gold in the bloodline, and now Roman's the one sitting around still trying to call the shots, but he ain't wearing no gold. And how much more would the Usos deal with that? With him basically bossing them around, telling them what to do, when they're the ones representing the bloodline with the gold, and Roman Reigns ain't got shit. So I'm thinking they could really take and run with that to really bring some interest to the bloodline, to the whole bloodline storyline and everything else, because it's starting to get a little bit stale anyway. So,
right. It really is getting stale at this point. I know they like it, but come on. We'll get to that match in a little bit. Let's go on to the next match, guys.
Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey.
Well, I
think we did that one already.
Yeah, we covered that one already.
So let's
we
go
got
on
AJ. Well,
night.
they moved on. Hold on, because they moved AJ Styles and Edge to night one.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
That match has been switched to night one.
You think you know me?
And I think, oh man,
I want Edge to win, man.
I think Edge is going to win. I think it's going to be very controversial, and I think it's just going to spark maybe a potentially long-running feud. Maybe it can go even to as far as into SummerSlam with Edge and AJ Styles. I'm hoping that's exactly how it plays out.
Like what they did with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping it plays out something like that. We'll see, but I do like Edge in this match coming up on WrestleMania Saturday night. I think he's going to win in a very controversial fashion. And like I said, hope it sparks a big feud between him and AJ Styles, because they are two of the best to ever do it. And this is a great match. It's going to absolutely steal the entire freaking weekend. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. This is the one I'm super excited for.
This is why I'm going to tune in on Saturday night, because this is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, is Edge. Not because he has the same initials as I do, but because of what he did for me growing up in wrestling in the Attitude Era, coming up in the Brood, doing a spear off of a 12-foot ladder while someone's hanging in the middle of the ring. During that legendary Hardy Boys Edge and Christian match. That is. Oh, thank you. By the way, thank you. But that's great, and I don't want AJ to take it a slight to say that I don't want him to win, because I respect AJ Styles as well. He's one of my favorites right now. But Edge deserves this. He lost 10 years of his career to do certain storylines, and for me, he just needs to ride this out. I think he deserves a title shot. Personally, I think they dogged him with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I think because the first time he won Rumble, he got injured by Randy Orton, so he couldn't even do any title. And Orton, I think, had the title at the time, so it would have been good to see that. So I want Edge to win because I want him to keep going, and I want him to be that guy. And AJ Styles, that flying elbow thing is awesome. But anyways,
you know how like WWE superstars, like when you're coming up and then you go over on someone, I think like in this scenario, like I would want obviously AJ Styles to win because he's one of my favorite wrestlers outside of Finn Balor. But at the end of the day, it's I was such a big John Cena fan that I hated Edge. I hated him, and he's such a good wrestler. And now that he came back, I kind of love him now, like what Adam was saying. And it would be good for the WWE to see an old head go over a new head. Like no one's gonna.
Well,
think,
AJ Styles
obviously-
pretty old.
AJ Styles is not new, bro.
He's not new. He's old, but he's a
He's
veteran,
probably-
being his time spent in Japan, probably around the same career as
been around
Edge,
just,
right?
just as long as
But-
Edge. Yeah, in
Right,
wrestling,
but
yeah.
I'm just talking about in the limelight. Like Edge been in the limelight. AJ Styles had to work his ass to get.
I
to
think
the
right
limelight.
now Edge needs to win. If you want
He
AJ
needs-
to win the next
The
matches,
Miz, listen against the Miz. The Miz is someone special, but it's not AJ Styles. If you
Right,
win
right.
again, if you pin AJ Styles, like that's big. And I just think that for the WWE, I think they should respect Edge and give him that win.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, Mac.
Well,
next match.
there's one more thing. There's no more actual matches on WrestleMania Saturday, but there is one more big time segment on WrestleMania Saturday,
Hall of Fame.
and that is it is the KO show with the featured guest Stone Cold. That
Right.
is
Kevin
Steve
Owens,
Austin.
let's get
That
it.
is going to be on. I don't know how we can really talk about this because we don't know what exactly going to actually happen. They're going to come down, talk for a little bit. I'm going to assume at some point Stone Cold is going to stun the hell out of Kevin Owens, and he's going to drink some beer over top of him. I don't know. I'm thinking that's
And that's
what's
the
gonna
bottom line.
That's
Yeah,
the bottom
it's gonna
line because I don't know what else is going. It's not going to be an actual wrestling match. So
It's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be wrestling. I think you'll see him do more than a couple moves, but it'll either be one of those things where it's really quick and he comes in there, KO, bang, hit the stunner, hit him with the beer, or they'll let him get something because they're not letting Stone Cold's not. We already know.
Not gonna happen. But would you guys be shocked? Obviously, what if KO Stone Cold stunner?
I think he'll do it, and then he'll try to like pin him, and then Austin will
And
kick
then
out or get
obviously
up.
Austin's gonna. The WWE writers are not clever enough to not leave Austin with the best promoter in most of WWE history, if not for Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Probably
You're
the
not
best
gonna
promoter.
let Stone
Yeah.
Cold Steve Austin get beaten by a joke.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's fact.
I mean, I like Kevin Owens, but
I love
you
Kevin
know.
Owens, but 100.
Let's move
same
to Sunday.
page. Move to Sunday.
I gotta go cook some dinner for my family. So let's move to Sunday.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so the opening match on Sunday, let me pull it up here. It's gonna be Queen Zella and Carmella versus Sasha Banks and Naomi versus it's a four-way fatal four-way.
fatal
match,
four way
I see.
for the tag team
right.
match
Versus
for the
Liv
tag team
Morgan
women's tag
and
team titles.
Nutella and Ripley
Rhea
and-
Ripley.
Thank
Oh,
you,
I think
sorry
they
for stuttering. And Liv Morgan versus Nutella and
Shayna Baszler.
thank you, Mac.
I think they win, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, because they both have good storylines and they can't do anything with them, and people like them. Put the belts on them. Rhea Ripley should be a champion, but right now they're doing Ronda Rousey. So what Vince McMahon likes to do when he can't get a champion, but he wants somebody in the spotlight to be around, and he's one of your horses, you give him the title. So I think Liv Morgan deserves it. Rhea Ripley has earned it, and I hope they win the belts. Not taking anything from Sasha.
I
And,
totally
no.
disagree with you. I think Sasha Banks is a superstar that needs the title around her waist. She is an A-list celebrity in the WWE. I think Sasha Banks and Naomi, I know it's an easy pick, but I think they walk out as WWE Tag Team Champions.
Oh, look, I agree with Zion, but not for the reasons. Not for your reasons, Zion. Not for your reasons.
You're good. You're good.
I agree with you. I just for somehow see it as playing out with Sasha and Naomi. I think when you take the look at all four teams in this match, they just kind of have the more it factor as a team, even though they're once again a little thrown together. What I consider
Sonya Deville.
a fake new team. You know what I mean? I consider them just kind of. I consider this entire match to me is kind of a joke also, because I'm looking at the names of these females in this match. I'm looking at Rhea Ripley, looking at Shayna Baszler, Sasha and Naomi as well. And these are standalone single performers. They are not tag team wrestlers. But yet we're just throwing together these tag teams and we're not giving these girls the opportunities that they deserve as far as getting shots at Charlotte, getting shots at Becky Lynch. We're just making up these weird random tag teams. I mean, Zelina and Carmella, they've been the champions for so long now that I've kind of gotten used to them being a team, but they also were just kind of a thrown together team as well. it's just the
Hey, I
women's
don't mind
tag team
that.
division. The women's tag team division to me is not taken seriously enough. Considering you made up the women's tag team titles, you need to start making up some real legitimate women tag teams.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
this just ain't it. Because these aren't real teams. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan became a team 3 weeks ago.
They're forcing it down our throats.
Like, yeah, you're just making stuff up. Rhea Ripley should be in the title mix. She should be a top contender in the title mix for the one of the women's championships.
She is a good wrestler, man. She's so
Say that, man.
she's a
Like
beast.
3 or
She's
4
a
years
beast.
ago, they had women's tag teams, but they all broke them up and stuff. They had Mandy Rose and that group, right? You had the Riot Squad and that crew. You had a couple other women tag teams out there that you could have done this with, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now we're going back to a tag division because we ran out of ideas. But anyways, that match is not that important. We know who's winning.
Who we got an anything goes match with Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn.
All right, this is the novelty match of the night. This is just one of those novelty matches you're going to see every WrestleMania. There's always going to be a match like this. You know what I mean? And it'll probably be kind of fun to watch a little bit. It's going to be a lot of weird stuff going on. You're going to see Johnny Knoxville channeling his inner jackass, doing all kinds of crazy shit. Sami Zayn already does a lot of crazy shit in the ring anyway. So it's going to be one of those kind of matches. It's not going to be a match you take seriously, but at the same time, it may be a little entertaining just for the shock value of it all, because there's going to probably be a lot of good spots in it. I can see Johnny Knoxville totally like jumping off of a damn balcony or something. I mean, you can just see it. Anything happen. You don't know what might happen. I think ultimately at the end of the day, usually in these kind of matches, they let the little celebrity person they bring in win. So I'm just gonna go with Johnny Knoxville on this one because that's just the way it usually goes down. Like and for what it's worth, these celebrities. I gotta throw a shout out to my man Bad Bunny. He raised the bar last year at WrestleMania for these celebrities coming in. He raised the bar. I mean, this guy was literally doing moonsaults and down outside the ring and everything. He put on a show. So
I was impressed.
You can't just come in. You can't just come walking in here now and jumping in the ring and thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna just show up and have some fun." No,
well,
Bad Bunny.
That's why
he raised the bar.
That's why Knoxville's good because he'll do anything, right? So.
Exactly.
We can't hear you, Mike. Your mic's on.
Sorry. Just to echo what Mac is saying in Bad Bunny, this is an entertainer, a pop star that is coming into the ring and putting a show on like he is. And with Johnny Knoxville and this jackass thing, like absolutely, these are performers. And I'm gonna turn the mic over to Adam before we talk about our match number 3 on Sunday night.
That's basically it. I think Jackass it'll be fun. You'll see it'll be a quick, funny spot. I think Knoxville will win, like Max said, but I think he'll get beat up after the match because Zayn will get angry that he got beat by Knoxville. So that's how probably you'll see him carted off. So let's go to the next match on the card.
We got Adam. I'm gonna let you begin first. We got Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Sorry.
I love Pat McAfee. I think he's the modern day Jerry the King Lawler for me in terms of announcing. He's funny. He's on the stage. He's entertaining. He's definitely not like the Raw guys. The Raw guys are kind of boring, and Corey Graves is always annoying. But Pat McAfee is funny. Now, I didn't think he would get in the ring. I thought it would be Vince McMahon, and I didn't really want to see Vince McMahon's 70-year-old ass in the ring anymore. It's kind of past his time, unless he's getting stunned by Steve Austin. But I'm going to assume that, and this is probably bad, that McAfee is going to win. And I don't know how good the wrestling match is going to be. Austin Theory, to me, is going to be a champion. I feel this is like Vince McMahon's hand-picked guy, and when he picks a hand-picked person, it doesn't take long for them to get in the title realm at some point.
And can I just interrupt to say that Austin Theory is the future of the sport?
He might be. He's got the build.
I don't know about all that, but I do believe that Austin Theory is going to win this match, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Austin Theory is being pushed to the moon. He's been having great match after great match, in particular with Finn Balor, who I believe that's going to be Finn Balor's next big feud and challenger is going to be Austin Theory after we get through WrestleMania. But He's just getting pushed, man. He's getting pushed so hard, and I can't. And Pat McAfee, unless you have plans on coming in and being a full-time wrestler, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't, I don't see what the point of him winning this match is going to be. Now, I will say Pat McAfee has wrestled in a match for WWE before. He wrestled on a NXT Takeover against Adam Cole
I forgot about that.
about a year and a half ago or so, or something, maybe a little bit longer than that. And he put on
Well-
a good show. He put on a damn good show. He was not a slouch in the ring. I just don't see the benefit in anything in Pat McAfee winning this match because Austin Theory is clear cut. Like I said, a future star.
Yeah,
he's a
he has
future
lane.
champion for sure.
Pat McAfee has a lane already. You know what I'm
Pat
saying?
Right, but-
McAfee.
I think Pat McAfee is good for what they're going to need him to do. Remember, we always need that announcer that gets beat up. You know, Michael Cole's done it. JR has been in the ring a little bit. This guy's an announcer that can finally fight back a little bit. Now, he's been annoying, and I don't think, like I said, with Sami Zayn, I don't think if you lose with Austin Theory, it's going to hurt him in terms of his push. I think he's still going to get pushed regardless. Now, it could change in that Mr. McMahon gets mad at him. I doubt that would happen, but maybe you guys are right. Maybe I'm just being the underdog fan and hoping that McAfee wins, but your points are valid. I do believe Austin Theory is the next big thing. I think Mac is right. He'll climb the ladder. He'll go for the USA title, then probably the Intercontinental, and then we'll probably see him in the undisputed title picture at some point down the road. But let's move on to the next match.
Before we move on, I think not to put you out, Adam, but I think Mac wasn't done finishing. So let Mac finish.
I was
You was done?
basically covered.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Well, we
Sorry
brings
about
me
that,
to the favorite
good.
Sunday match. We got RK Bro versus the Street Profits
Ooh.
versus Alpha Academy. I'm gonna take this one first. I think the Street Profits win this match. I just think that Montez Ford is a really great wrestler, and I just think that a lot of people have RK Bro winning this matchup. But I would like the WWE to switch it up and make the Street Profits win it. I think they have the next generation of younger fans behind them, and I just think it's a time for the Street Profits to shine. And I'd love to get your guys' take on that.
Well, RK Bro obviously are coming into this match as the Raw Tag Team Champions, but the Street Profits have also been the Raw Tag Team Champions before, and we obviously know Alpha Academy were the former Raw Tag that RK Bro just won the belts from. So we're looking at three decorated teams here,
Really good teams.
and I'm thinking that the Alpha Academy, some way, walks out of Dallas, Texas, finding a way to win this match, and it's going to begin the breakup of this RK Bro thing, because you know Randy Orton can never be complacent in any storyline, and eventually there's going to be some kind of breakup, some kind of a bad breakup with him and Riddle, and it may begin here at WrestleMania. That's just my predictions there, and I think Alpha Academy is going to be the ones that come out on top in this match and win the titles back.
Well, not to be the guy that changes everyone's viewpoint, but I'm going to go with RK Bro. And the reason I say that is they haven't been to WrestleMania. And usually Vince McMahon likes to give his teams WrestleMania moments, something that they can hang their hat on. And I don't think the Street Profits nor the Alpha Academy are at a WrestleMania winning level. So in that case, I put it on the legend and his protege, RK Bro, because they will allow, to me, WrestleMania, when you think of WrestleMania, whatever, 38, I guess this is, they don't do the numbers anymore. When you think of WrestleMania 38, are you going to want to think Street Profits, or are you going to think RK Bro? I'm going to think that they want the branding idea now. Right,
But
and then I think the next pay-per-view,
they'll have the Street Profits win.
right. Well, but my point is, as I'm looking at like marketing, then the next week on Raw, when they go back, I can see them losing the title on a Raw or on the next pay-per-view. But for me, I think the WrestleMania moment is gonna be the reason they win.
I love it. And, for me, who wouldn't want to see the double cups win? Double cup. Let's get it. We got Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship of the world. I'm going to let Mac begin on this one.
All right, Brock Lesnar's winning this title. There's not a doubt in my mind that Brock Lesnar is not walking out of Dallas to unifying these titles.
Why?
Because it's the build up for this match, the wait, the having it, this match that should have happened at, what was it, day one it was supposed to happen? Yeah.
Right.
and now we're having to wait all the way till WrestleMania to get it, and just from the way I'm watching the storyline develop and take place, it's just to me favoring the momentum is favoring Brock Lesnar. He's
You
already
think Paul Heyman
clearly.
turns?
I think that Paul Heyman performs the ultimate double cross, and all of this has been a setup to lure Roman Reigns back into some comfortable, like a little sense of comfort again, and he ultimately knows he's truly siding with Brock Lesnar when it all comes down to it, and I don't know how you guys feel about this good guy hokey Brock Lesnar we've been getting. I'd rather him get back to just being the badass heel where he just destroys everything in his path. Well, I mean, he still does that anyway, but
You're right.
he
I
does
like
it he does it in a lighthearted way now, and I'd rather see him go back to just the more cold-hearted Brock Lesnar, just doesn't care about anybody's well-being. And I feel like the build-up for this match is favoring Brock Lesnar to win it.
The
Once again,
ruthless Brock Lesnar. That's what you want.
Like I said about Ronda Rousey earlier, he didn't want. He doesn't come back for this moment to not win. You know what I mean? It's just that's what you get Brock Lesnar for. He doesn't.
The build-up is just for I feel you on that. I'm sorry for interrupting because we tend to interrupt Mac a lot, and I took notice. I'm sorry about that, Mac. We tend to interrupt him so much, but I get you on that. The build-up for this whole event seems to have it finish with Brock Lesnar walking out with the title. I'm gonna let Mac finish, and I'm agree with him, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Adam.
No, I was just saying like that. It's all about the build, and what I'm seeing. Roman Reigns has been the champion for over 500 days. It's time for that run to also come to, and that also factors into my decision for why I think he's gonna lose this match. And not to mention, this is Vince McMahon we're talking about. Who else you got to go against Brock after this? You're gonna it's gonna be Roman again. So he's gonna lose the title for now. Brock's gonna hang around for a little bit longer. Maybe at SummerSlam or whatever the next big pay-per-view, SummerSlam, Brock will finally lose that title back to Roman. It's just the way the WWE bounces things back and forth, and I see Brock Lesnar walking out of Dallas, Texas as a champion. He's completely in Roman Reigns' head right now. Roman Reigns is totally scared of Brock Lesnar, as you saw. I don't know if anybody saw SmackDown. Completely just runs away. He runs away like a little bitch. It's ridiculous. So I think that, I see Brock Lesnar winning this title, and it's not because I'm some big Brock Lesnar guy. I just feel like he's going to win. He's going to be the one that unifies these titles.
I'm with you on that. Let's pass the mic over to Adam.
Mac, I agree that Brock Lesnar is going to win. My thing is this. You say there's no one on the roster. I think there's a perfect guy on the roster to face Brock Lesnar when he wins. That's Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. He won the title against him at WrestleMania. He didn't get his shot to face him again because of injuries and timing. So I think that, to me, if you want to pass the torch, because I can't have you go back to Roman Reigns 2, 3, 4 months later to give him the title. I think it's time to move on. And the only guy I feel that can do that and someone can put some back behind it is Brock Lesnar. Now, I also agree with you. I think there is going to be a swerve because Brock is better when he conquers. Because once he conquers Roman Reigns, he will be the conqueror again, right? And you'll see the Paul Heyman go, the conqueror. He defeated the Undertaker, the blah, blah, blah. And now Roman Reigns, right? And he's your first ever undisputed universal title, whatever they're going to call the title. So that's why I think, and to me, he's a bigger draw right now than Roman Reigns, on good or bad. People like Roman Reigns. You obviously like it, but it's like liking something that's, when there's not much on the roster. The only guy on the roster right now, the only two guys on the roster right now that I like for SmackDown are McIntyre. And there's a reason why McIntyre got moved from Raw to SmackDown. I think he's going to factor in at some point down the road. And for me, that's when Brock Lesnar wins the title. Hey, Corey, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Corey?
Hey, what's up, Corey? Thank you so much for tuning in. And if everybody could do me a favor and go sub up to the Big Ball Azure guy. This guy does everything everything. If you need to learn about PowerPoints, everything technical, he's starting up his own team on his channel. So make sure you guys all go sub up to the Big Ball Azure guy. Anything you want to know computer related, whether it be Microsoft or Apple, this guy will cover it. So make sure you go give him a shout out.
And we appreciate you being in the chat with us. We wish you could have came on earlier. We're ending the show right now, unless you guys got anything more. I think.
Well, I just want a couple of quick takes because that was all the matches. But I wanted to just bring up one point, man. And this
we're not closing out yet. But before we do close out, Matt's got a few things to say. We're gonna leave a few of these other topics, the NBA playoffs, for next week, because it'll be a better way because the playoff picture will be shaping up. But because we've gone about 2 hours and 45 minutes, I want to finish up here. Mac, what do you got? What do you want the people to
say? That WWE is as good as awesome as WrestleMania weekend is, exciting as it can be. They're doing the fans a disjustice by not having certain superstars on at all scheduled for any kind of appearance.
Finn Balor, Alexa Bliss.
Finn Balor is the main one that's on my mind. He is the United States champion. There's no reason why that title should not be getting defended at WrestleMania.
Yes, all titles should be defended.
Ricochet is another guy because he is also the Intercontinental Champion. Once again, that is one of the most legendary titles WWE even has.
Right.
And that's not getting defended at WrestleMania. That's not cool.
Something's wrong.
That's not right, man. So
hopefully there's more.
They've got to do better by us fans with those kind of things. WrestleMania is not only WWE's biggest wrestling show, it's the biggest wrestling show of the year.
It's the biggest.
Period.
And believe it or not, guys, WrestleMania pulls in so much fans. So much fans. It's
my friend goes every year and doesn't even watch the product.
I'm not trying to talk out of my ass right now, but it's almost as big as the NFL Super Bowl. And guess what? It pulls more viewers than the damn Stanley Cup. That's facts.
Well, I mean, it is the Super Bowl. You can say it's wrestling.
It is. And
because they have celebrities. I mean, I know that you said, we have to raise Mr. Perfect from the dead in order to bring him back. So I would love to bring him back hard, but Mr. Perfect will be a skeleton of himself. But I'm pumped. I know that's a terrible joke, but you got to have some at this late in the game. But I agree with you on that. WrestleMania is like that. They have celebrity bands play and stuff. I think there's going to be more than just those 11 matches we talked about, because if you look at it, it's going to be a 5-hour show. There's no way all those matches are going to last 5 hours. So I'm hoping in the next week they insert some of these guys, Finn Balor, Ricochet. I would like to see those guys get their WrestleMania moments. But hey, guys, if there's nothing else, I'm going to close out the show. Is that okay with you guys, or you got anything else to add?
Absolutely. I would like to say thank you everybody for tuning in today. I know you guys had a lot of options to choose from for Big Blue Crew, but I'm glad that you guys chose Premium Takes. And guess what, guys? We all in talks about doing 2 episodes a week. Right now we're keeping it to 1, but we all in talks about doing 2. So keep in mind, we're gonna have a Premium Takes Sports and a Premium Takes Pop that is in the works. But right now, you guys can catch us every Sunday. Next Sunday is going to be on Zion Zenith, and after that, I think Mac will get his up and running, and we'll get back on Mac's channel as well. Mac, anything else you want to finish?
That's all I got, man. Thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat, man. It's been great. It's been fun. See y'all next week, man.
Well, that does it for us, guys. It's been a lot of fun. My name is Adam. Mac, thank you. Zion, thank you. Sub up to these guys. They make great content, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Good.